No, because she's dead. I can beat her.
That's true. Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Furniture Bank of Tallahassee, a division of Echo, is the only local program that collects and distributes gently used furniture free of charge to Leon County residents in need. Our free furniture bank donates to eligible clients such as families recovering from fire or disaster, formerly homeless clients moving into their own homes, and veterans in a rehousing program. In 2016, we helped 138 families, including 33 vets, rebuild their lives. For more information or to have your furniture picked up, call 224-ECHO. Call 224-ECHO.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Golden State, who beat opponents by an average of 13.5 points per game this season. That is the second best in a single postseason in NBA history, minimum of 5 games. Snippets of the kinds of numbers that if you delve into that championship run, you'll see repeatedly, right? The Warriors securing that title, their 5th in franchise history, tying the Spurs for 4th most in NBA history. You don't think of them that way, but they exist in that fashion. The only franchise with more than 5, of course, are the Celtics, who have 17. The Lakers have 16, and the Bulls have 6. The point differentials you'll see through 5 games. Then you'll see the best record in a single postseason, which was Golden State 16-1. The Lakers went 15-1. 12-1 were the 76ers. That's all they had to go. So you look at winning percentages, and obviously Golden State's is there. Kevin Durant winning his first title is really the topic du jour nationally on daytime television, where they can argue about things like people's legacies and whether or not you're angry about Kevin Durant's title. I'm not angry. I mean, there's certainly a place to discuss the manner with which he made that decision and when he made that decision and what that means. But what it means is that he was almost guaranteed in the moment to win a title, and that's why he made the decision. And it wasn't as if he didn't go and play well. He did. He played exceptionally well, and that is a big reason why we don't think anybody at this point is really competitive with Golden State. They were already arguably the best team in basketball last year before Draymond Green did what he did. Then they added Kevin Durant. And if you're going to add an all-world player who is considered top 5 consensus in the league to a team that won 73 games a year ago, well, what you get is this. You get an historic run through the postseason, and one that leads people to ask, how long can it last? Who can compete with that? What teams are set up from a salary cap standpoint to be able to compete with that? What would it take to compete with that? Is there anybody in the East up and coming like Boston? How soon are they going to be able to overtake, or the Bulls or somebody like that, a team like Cleveland? And then I guess you get into other questions along the lines of LeBron James is all-time great in the discussion of greatest of all time, fairly so. But now is he in a position where we've seen the last of his rings because of a Golden State, meaning LeBron getting up there in years? Think about how long he's played in the league. It's not so much the actual age next to his name as the miles logged. And you wonder, what does he have left as the game's best player? Is he 1 or 2 more years with that moniker, that status? And what does he see this as? I am interested in that. I don't ask questions like, what's it mean to his legacy? But I do wonder what a guy who now is only playing 4 titles, he's done everything else there is to do. He's won titles. He's won MVPs. He's clearly shown himself to be, for a very long time, the best player in the game. He's a Hall of Famer, an all-time great. He's a top 10 player, you could argue, all time. What's left for him other than to win championships? And right now, what's the avenue to do that? It's got to be, you'd have to be feeling a little bit bereft of hope right about now.
Well, he does always sign a 1 or 2 year deal with vesting options. Could it be that LeBron would want to form his own super team again in a different market?
I guess, but he certainly didn't run to a 73-win team. That was who had just won the title. what's he going to do? Who's that team?
Oh, it would have to be a team constructed of people who are tied up at the moment. Yeah, that's the hard part
Who's
about
that team? They're not sitting ready-made.
Yes. No. There isn't a team that you say, all right, add LeBron and here you go. Maybe San Antonio, but even then, he and Kawhi are similar enough that I don't know that works. And that brings me back to when Durant chose Golden State last year, and I remember the analysts, the advanced metrics guys / the good NBA analysts, and they put out their opinions on Twitter, and I remember reading 3 or 4 of them, and they said something akin to, I shudder to think the looks that Golden State's top players are now going to get because of what Durant brings to what they do.
And they sure did.
It's a perfect fit. Yeah, and that's, Durant hit a ton of huge shots. If you can have such a thing exist in a 4-1 series victory, I think you can, and I think he did. But how many shots did he or Steph get in which nobody's around them because everybody's collapsing?
You have to respect other players.
Collapsing and rotating and doing everything they have to do. And then all of a sudden there's a kick out to a superstar, and the superstar buries the wide open look. That's what the series was.
Well, he gets a title. He's a 4-time scoring champion. I mean, you added the 4-time scoring champion, so he's going to get looks, and he's going to hurt you because that's what he is. It's what he does. He's an elite, magnificent player. I think sometimes it has gotten lost because he's played in the LeBron James era, or that he played in an era where you could look to a player like Steph Curry who was transforming that position, coupled with the rules being what they are, and maybe it would get overlooked because he was also in Oklahoma City. But you don't find 7-footers who put the ball on the floor and go to the basket and beat you off the bounce but can shoot the 3 and also beat you down. I mean, you just don't see it. So he's a freak of a player, and that's what they added. And,
it's almost like Dirk gets more credit for being that type of player.
Because he was
Durant.
kind of the first to be that kind of player.
Right.
And then a more athletic version came along.
Durant's
far
the better
more.
version. Yeah.
Oh, sure, far more. I wonder what the rest of the league, if you're a GM, what damn, what a helpless feeling you have right now.
You're a marketing manager, a team president that has to worry about campaigning so that season ticket sales go up. And you're in a market, let's say, of a team that is going to finish at best 5th in the East this year.
It's incremental. All you can do at that point is, okay, what metrics are we going to use to measure progress? Because it ain't going to be winning the East and or a title. So you have to define what it is you find to be successful and judge it again using certain metrics that pertain to a smaller franchise that don't have a power 3 or even close to the best player in the game, and decide then right now, we're a 30-win team. If we could win 45 games this year, we're moving in the right direction, ready to capitalize at a time that Golden State breaks up in the West and LeBron begins to fade in the East. That's what you're doing at this point. You're trying, Danny Ainge was right not to give away the farm and to try to get a couple of guys like Paul George or anybody else to go up against this version of LeBron because you ain't beating him. So not in the East. So at that point he said, no, we'll lay back in the cut. I'll hold on to my picks because no matter what I do right now, that version is unbeatable. So let's wait and be ready to capitalize when he begins to fade. I mean, gosh, that's all any of these guys can do right now is hope. In another 2 years, Golden State will have to make a decision on Clay. I would imagine one of these guys he's gonna be gone. Right?
I would think so. Yeah,
he'd be long gone.
I mean, he didn't play that great this postseason, and did they miss him?
Because a much better version and taller version and more talented version came over. So
now defensively, that's me shortchanging him defensively and what he brings to the table. But I mean, what's the first thing we all do when we look at Golden State box scores? You're looking at 3-pointers attempted, 3-pointers made, and the total score because it's jaw dropping every time you go.
I also look always at the number of assists to baskets because it's crazy how efficient they are.
That was the sign of things to come in the first game, right? Is that they're at halftime and it's 20-1. 20-1 assist to turnover ratio at the half of game 1. You go, oh, okay, well, maybe this thing gets to 6.
You know what I didn't know? I saw this morning going through all the numbers that reveal what Golden State is for now, at least historically speaking, and also some of the numbers for first-time title winners to have amassed the point totals for a career and the scoring titles, for example, of Kevin Durant before winning a championship. And if you look at most playoff points per game, Kevin Durant's in the conversation. Guess who he's in the conversation with? Michael Jordan, Allen Iverson, Jerry West, Kevin Durant, LeBron James. Well, Durant is in the conversation. I mean, pretty nice, heady categories there, or players there. MVP in first season with a team, finals MVP. 2 players, only 2 in their first year with a team, won an NBA Finals MVP.
Shaq?
Nope. Moses Malone with the 76ers in 83. And Magic Johnson did it in 1980 as a rookie with the Lakers. And then from there, Kevin Durant. That's it. Only 3.
How long before Magic Johnson makes the LA Lakers a winner?
I keep thinking of that falling in the category of things for people to yell at each other about on daytime, right? They're going to spend the next 2 weeks arguing about whether LeVar Ball or
Lonzo, yeah.
Lonzo. How many times do they have that dad on as a guest? Devoid of, what are they supposed to do? What's Stephen A. and what's his face going to argue about?
Well,
baseball?
It looks like McGregor and Mayweather has a date set, Jeff. They're eyeing August 23rd.
Good Lord, they got to be panic-stricken. What do we do now? We should talk about somebody's legacy angrily over and over again. Whose legacy can we pick on now? What does it mean for Durant's legacy that he won like this? That'll be the rest of the shows this week. Then let's get back to ripping LeBron. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
You can tell a lot about a tractor by its warranty. That's why Mahindra makes the toughest tractors on earth. With steel, not plastic. Backed by the industry's best limited powertrain warranty, period. Not 5 years, not 6 years, but a full 7 years on select models. No wonder the other guys are green with envy.
No money down, 0% interest, and no payments until July. Available at TNT Supercenter.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck, always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
The Walmart Shopping Center on Appalachian Parkway. Give them a call today at 850-219-3535. That's Games for Less.
At the Home Depot, we've got more great ways to do windows than anyone. Choose from a huge selection, in-store and online. Design custom window treatments in-store or use our online tool. Even schedule an in-home appointment with a designer. With so many choices, nobody does windows like we do. Come in now for easy-to-use cordless options like faux wood blinds starting at only $24.97. From America's #1 retailer of blinds and shades, the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. Offer valid through June 30th in store and online while supplies last.
Hi, this is Chip Wade, TV host and entrepreneur. I own a construction and design business, and I never want to turn down a job because I don't have enough capital for hiring or to buy equipment. That's why Kabbage is so important. Kabbage provides lines of credit of up to $150,000. Apply online and get a decision right away. Withdraw funds whenever you need them. I signed up in a few simple steps and had funding in minutes. Kabbage has helped over 100,000 small businesses from every industry. Go to Kabbage.com/boss or 888-KABBAGE. That's Kabbage with a K. 888-KABBAGE.
The City of Tallahassee Utilities, America's #1 public utility, says it's summertime, and summertime is the time to go green and save energy. Here are a few simple things you can do right now that will save energy while you try to keep out of the summer heat. First thing, get your air conditioner checked out and change your air filters. You'll be pleasantly surprised at how much energy and money you can save. Going away from home on vacation? Why not purchase a programmable thermostat to regulate your air conditioner while you're not at home? Talk about an investment that'll pay energy savings dividends. Make an appointment right away for a free energy audit from the City of Tallahassee Utilities. You never know how much energy you can save until you do it. The City of Tallahassee is offering insulation grants. Why not apply for one? Did you know that the City of Tallahassee offers loans to help with the purchase of solar water heaters? Visit talgov.com/YOU for information on loans and rebates. So stay cool, go green, and save energy all summer long. A message from the City of Tallahassee Utilities, America's #1 public utility.
Yeah, that was a good ending. What's another great ending to a movie?
Jaws. Smile, you son of a...
No. That's Jaws 2.
No, that's Jaws 1, man.
No, he shoots the thing, and it's Jaws 2, isn't it?
No, Jaws 2, he hits him with the electrical wire.
Oh, you're right. The electrical thing, he's holding it up, right? He's on the little raft.
He's on the raft.
You're right.
Zzz. And then that's it for Brody. He dies after that.
He doesn't die.
In Jaws 3, he's dead. He
he had a heart attack or something.
Yeah,
we don't see it on screen.
They don't show it on screen, but yeah, the Jaws killed him.
That's okay. Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
Hi, Chris Kraft for Kraft Nissan. How do I convey to you just how good the incentives and discounts are on America's fastest growing car company, Nissan? Seriously, please shop Kraft Nissan before you buy. No one has the incentives and low prices we have. Not Toyota, Chevy, Ford, Honda, or Hyundai. $5,800 in savings on Altima SR. Brand new automatic Frontier pickup starting at just $21,800. 0% interest for 72 months on our most popular models. Rebates up to $10,000 and no payments until football season. I'm telling you, in the over 30 years I've been in the car business, I've never seen such incentives and low prices. I've got pages and pages of special interest rates, rebates, and bonus cash. Kraft Nissan even has a factory rebate for any credit score under 625 to help you with your down payment. Here's the deal. Nissan is America's fastest growing car company, and they want to be #1, and they're buying market share. So please, before you buy, check out Kraft Nissan's exciting lineup of new vehicles. That's all I ask. Stop by Kraft Nissan and look. Kraft Nissan on Mahan Drive between Academy Sports and Costco. Price includes dealer preparation charge.
Dish TV is better than cable TV. Why? Because you can save 45% on packages compared to your high-priced cable bill. Wow. Take those giant scissors out and cut the cable and save with Dish TV. Plus, you get a free DVR upgrade to record your favorite shows and free installation. And with Dish Anywhere, you can watch TV for free on your mobile device. Act fast. You can save hundreds of dollars. Does your cable company do that for you? I don't think so. Get all the best TV programming at your fingertips at a fraction of the price of cable TV. So say adios, arrivederci, goodbye to the high cable bill and save up to 45% on Dish TV packages today. These are limited time offers and can change at any time. Call fast. 800-344-2066. 800-344-2066. 800-344-2066. That's 800-344-2066.
Live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Lawn Maintenance Tuesday, presented by Miller's Tree Service. Call Miller's today at 894-TREE. That's 894-8733.
That's the worst feeling in the world. That moment just before you're going to sneeze, but then you can't sneeze, but you're sure you have to sneeze, but you have to do a talk show.
So do you think you're going to sneeze?
Oh, at some point.
It's a great answer.
I am not currently going to sneeze, I don't think. It wanted to. It was like, come on, man, we got to sneeze. And you know how I loathe sneezing.
Yes.
You do too. We share that, actually.
We do. You're a projectile sneezer, too. You got to steer clear.
Well, not when I mean,
I know. You do the
I
cover.
cover myself up.
You're not a kindergartner.
Yeah. I'm not sneezing all over people. I'm a strong. My problem is when I don't sneeze often, but when I do sneeze, it's like coming for the hills.
Yeah.
It's a brutal situation.
My pop is like that. I think that's why I'm more of a calculated sneezer. I'm a quiet sneezer. Ninja sneezer.
when you start, we're doing this. When you start sneezing, you have a series of sneezes.
Oh, I hate it.
It's crazy. It's like a rattle off. They may be small, but there's like 20 of them. I'm like, oh, he's been overcome.
Well, yeah, my allergies are no joke. Like that's so if I come over and I get a good whiff of dog dander or whatever it is. Oh, I'm done. I gotta leave because then it's like breathing through a cocktail straw.
Ugh, not good.
Yeah, not fun.
Teammates to average 25 points per game in the postseason and won the NBA title. This looks like a very short list, and you can guess them pretty easily. We've got a new addition to the list with last night's title win for Golden State. Steph Curry and Kevin Durant, obviously on the list just last year. Kyrie Irving and LeBron James did as well in 2016. Prior to that, one other duo had done it, and it was somebody you would have guessed, as you did earlier, with Shaquille O'Neal paired with Kobe Bryant. They both did as well. But that's it. I would have guessed perhaps somewhere along the way Magic would. I would not have guessed anybody on that Celtics team in the 80s because that there was not somebody else who was as prolific a scorer, for example, as, say, Larry was. But with Magic's teams, you had scorers everywhere. I would have guessed that maybe Magic and Kareem would have done that, although that was towards the end of Kareem's career, or maybe even Magic and Worthy.
Jordan Pippen?
Yeah. Scotty, yeah, 25's a lot to average.
Yeah.
And it's a different era. Yeah. And by the way, the odds are already out for next year's NBA title, and you can guess it. The Warriors are 1-2 odds. Next best is 3-1 with the Cavaliers. And this is why I say it could potentially be bad for basketball because you have a 1-2 odds for the Warriors, 3-1 for the Cavs, and then it's 12-1 Spurs and 15-1 Celtics, 30-1 after that, and that's the Clippers.
Tune in this Wednesday night as the Golden State Warriors host the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Right, like if you're you brought it up. What if you're a Milwaukee Bucks fan? What if you're a Toronto Raptors fan? A Thunder fan? I mean, you just had hope. I mean, maybe you tune in to watch the amazing athleticism of Westbrook.
Maybe.
And he is fun to watch. I'll watch a game or two maybe just to watch him go crazy. But
I mean, that's like having a 50 home run guy on
right,
a 90
on a last place team.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess Cubs fans did that with Andre Dawson back when he won an MVP in the year in which the Cubs finished dead ass last. And I don't say that to take a shot. It sounds like it, but I mean
I think your subconscious did.
Maybe,
but maybe
really
your conscious
did
not.
I like the Hawk. I had no problem with the Cubs back then. I mean, no, it did sound like a shot, didn't it? But that was always a debate, though. Like, can you win an MVP on a last place team? How are you the most valuable player? Almost by definition, you're of no value. They could have finished last without you. So how valuable are you? You might be the best player, but you're not very valuable.
Yes, but along those lines of thinking, when Peyton Manning got hurt for that year in Indianapolis and they went 2-14, should he not have been voted the most valuable player in the NFL?
Oh, man. Yeah, it certainly revealed that without him, you're dog blank. But I don't know that it means you're the most to your team, but not the league.
Sometimes we see how much value you have in elevating your team, but maybe it's the absence of the elevation that
makes the heart grow fonder.
Well, it proves to you how valuable a man really is.
Well, I will say this: if I'm Andre Dawson and I win the MVP on a team that finishes last, again, whether or not we lose 100 games or 90 games, I mean.
I'll tell you something, man. If you ever walked away from the Tallahassee market, people would then realize how valuable you really were.
Well, that might be able to be quantified. Like they would be able to look then and say, well, they went from first in the ratings to last in the ratings. But if you're last already and you remain last, I have no value, Tom. That would be
right. I'm just making the case for Peyton Manning because we can look at his records in the years prior to his injury.
Well, sure. And in the NFL, quarterback is a pretty damn big deal. So if you take away Tom Brady from the Patriots, I'd like to believe that they won't be nearly as good. Although Matt Castle did go 11-5 with that Patriots team. They weren't as good, and they got screwed and didn't make the playoffs in a weird year that they went 11-5. But they still went 11-5. You think Belichick secretly that year Brady was out was like, maybe it's me.
Tom, nice to have you back. Those 2 extra wins are going to mean a lot in the regular season.
It sounds like something he would say, right? But actually it would mean a lot. Because that could be the difference between making the playoffs and not making the playoffs, and going to the Super Bowl and not going to the Super Bowl.
How many rings have you won without me as a head coach, Bill? I know Bill Parcells carried you at some point in your career. But
you had your chance there in Cleveland, but they fired you. So,
I've never been, traded or cut.
No. I mean, you can cut me, Bill. But I wouldn't advise it.
I mean, they got plenty of moats in, the southeastern portion of the country.
Hour number 2, Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. Hang in.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
You put your mower through a lot. All that back and forth can add up to thousands of miles. That's like mowing cross country. Gravely commercial mowers are built for all-day performance, helping you get the job done mile after mile. Gravely, built to mow the distance.
Get your Gravely motor only at TNT Supercenter, your one-stop shop for work or play. 14585 Highway 19 South, Thomasville, Georgia. TNTSupercenter.com.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck, always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford. The place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from LoCash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Out of yard care with Black Flag Extreme Lawn Insect Killer Plus Fungus Control, starting at only $11.97. Kill what's killing your lawn with this dual-action formula that kills lawn insects and kills and prevents fungus. If you're not sure what's causing problems in your yard, don't raise the white flag. Go with Black Flag Extreme Lawn Insect Killer Plus Fungus Control, starting at only $11.97. Only at the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. U.S. only. See store for details.
Milwaukee brings on the power. New high-demand 9-amp-hour batteries to power those demanding cordless applications. Purchase a 9-amp-hour starter kit battery and charger and receive a cordless skill saw or Sawzall for only $249, a $490 value if purchased separately. Check out the e-rebate when you buy Milwaukee Sawzall blades and hole saws. Cornerstone Tool and Fastener, the largest Milwaukee selection in the area. Big store pricing with local service. 2 locations, 1110 Stuckey Ave and 3269 Crawfordville Highway. Tallahassee location open on Saturdays, 8 a.m. to noon.
All right. Could Louis Anderson, the comedian?
Louis Anderson.
Yeah, I like good old fat Louis.
He was awesome. He is awesome.
Yeah, he's not dead. Louis is fine.
No,
he's
John
actually
Candy.
in a show. Yeah, John Candy's been dead for years.
Man, John Candy was great.
He was great. I think of Louis Anderson as a guy that could never win a fight against anything or anybody. Super sweet, jolly guy, but doesn't look like he has any kind of... He has no squabbles.
I bet he could beat John Panette in a fight.
Could he beat a boar? A wild boar?
A wild boar?
Yeah, not a tame one. Could he beat a boar?
No.
It would. No. That'd be a quick fight.
That would be, well...
Boars, I think they eat you, too, afterwards.
Oh, they'll eat you.
They eat you.
Everything.
That's the best thing about a boar.
That's why you can never trust people that have pigs, man.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996. Woohoo! Banditos!
Huh? Where?
Banditos Burritos, baby.
Working on the car, huh?
Yeah, it's been stalling.
It could be friction from your floor mats.
No.
Oil change too? Better change your oil fuses.
Nice try. Hand me that Purolator Boss filter.
Wow. Protects up to 15,000 miles?
Right. Nothing gets by Purolator. Or me.
Great. Now let's demagnetize those floor mats.
This is sad now.
Purolator oil, air, and cabin air filters. Nothing gets by us. Available at Advance Auto Parts, Pep Boys, and other fine retailers.
Broadcasting live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios. This is 97.9 ESPN Radio, WTSM, Woodville, Thomasville, Tallahassee. Tallahassee Sports Center.
I'm Lee Gordon, so it's off to Omaha again for the Noles, and if you haven't seen the Mike Martin video, it is epic, and it's all over social media. Florida State will meet up with LSU on Saturday in Game 1 at 8 o'clock. It's the 22nd Florida State team to make it to the College World Series, the 16th since Martin took over in 1980. The 8 teams headed out to Omaha, Oregon State, Texas A&M, Cal State Fullerton, Louisville, Florida State, TCU, LSU, and of course the Florida Gators. Well, the NBA season is officially over. We have a new yet familiar champion. The Golden State Warriors take out Cleveland. They win the series 4-1. They've now won 2 of the last 3 titles. They are the heavy favorites to do it all again next year. And some NFL news. A familiar face to the state of Florida, former Buccaneers quarterback Doug Williams has been promoted to the Senior Vice President of Player Personnel for the Washington Redskins.
Live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Lawn Maintenance Tuesday, presented by Miller's Tree Service. Call Miller's today at 894-TREE. That's 894-8733.
Hour number 2, Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. Good to be back with you. I'm Jeff, that's Tom. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you go to listen live via the streaming free. Always don't miss anything, but if you do, remember, all 3 hours posted every day upon the conclusion of the program, both on iTunes and in our own audio vault. It's brought to you with a limited commercial interruption thanks to our great sponsor, Carlton Dean, carltondean.com. You can email the show if you like. It's JCS at 979ESPNradio.com. Find me on Twitter at JCameronShow, WTSM app. Good for your mobile devices. Also, you can watch the show on YouTube, ESPN Tallahassee. Type that in. Obviously, a day late to the party in celebrating Florida State's 22nd trip to the College World Series, but no less enthusiastic about that accomplishment. Congratulations to Mike Martin and to that entire staff. And getting this turnaround completed, at least in the sense of the ultimate goal in getting to Omaha. I should say the ultimate goal is to win a national title. But you can't do that unless you get to Omaha, and they are back in Omaha, and you feel good going in. I'll reiterate what I said last hour. You feel like this team has a real shot at this thing. Basically, any team that gets out to Omaha is a good baseball team. Any team that is able to make the College World Series has done something right. But there are degrees to which you are brimming with confidence, and that usually has to do with how you're playing in the final couple of weeks of the season. And there is no question that a group that we seriously wondered about for much of the regular season got it turned around at the right time. They got healthy, and they started to play confidently, and moreover, they got very, very good starting pitching, and things turned around. And you like your chances. I will say this, they're playing one hell of a team that's also on a roll in LSU. So if it happens that Florida State is able to move on from their little side of the bracket and get by and get into that championship series, I don't want to ignore the other teams, but I was most worried about, frankly, going into this postseason as I tried to project ahead and be cautiously optimistic. I was probably most worried about LSU, and they're playing exceptionally well. They breezed right through. They had that one game against Mississippi State where they had to come back, and they did get the comeback, and they won. They won easily in the second game. But they're a team that's playing great baseball late in the year, just like Florida State is.
It's amazing to think that not a month ago we were talking about what Florida State had to do to even host a regional. And then what happened
Or
over
to
this,
get into a regional.
Well, sure.
Yeah.
If you're going a full month.
Yeah, go back to actually making a regional.
Yeah, there was that question. You couldn't certainly get swept on the road at Louisville heading into the ACC tournament. And we only ended up playing 2 games there, winning the both, and then getting our ACC record to 14-14. So we avoided that dubious distinction of the 2017 season being the first time that we've had a losing record in ACC play. But then it's like you jump on a trampoline, and here you are. Because all of a sudden, from all angles, I mean, there are plays, and I know this weekend, Saturday's game in particular, featured a base running issue, featured obviously poor plays in managing, the bunt situations, which is what we knew that Sam Houston State was going to do. And it took until 4 or 5 bunts in that game that we finally got an out and played the situation the way we were supposed to play the situation. A couple errors by Holton. He gives up 4 unearned runs in all in his start. But there are defensive plays being made when they need to be made. There are timely hits being driven to the right part of the field when they're supposed to be there.
Some of that's luck. Some of that is luck. It's baseball, but you're putting the bat on the ball in big situations, that's for sure.
They're squaring them up in some situations, too.
Yeah.
I mean, we played the montage last hour. We'll have it again next hour. But
ting, ting, ting.
Yeah, when they get it, the hits that they recorded to get it within 1, to tie the game, to take the lead or walk off, I should say, in game 1 of the Super Regional, they're squaring the baseball up. That lineup is seeing the baseball well. There's an approach, and then obviously it didn't stop. Whatever they started in the latter innings of Saturday has not stopped, and hopefully it continues on this Saturday night as we play 8 p.m. out in Omaha.
What's crazy is the rally when it was 6-3 and you start getting the big hits, and it all culminates with tying the game and then winning the game eventually in the 9th. But during the rally to tie it, when things got going right, and this is all part of the overriding enthusiasm that you have. And obviously, again, I don't want to overstate this. You're always excited when a team's going to Omaha. But I think specifically, I'm very excited about the way these games played out for a couple of reasons. Maybe it's that snake bit feel that every diehard Florida State baseball fan has to have deep down. It's part of the thing that I loathe about our fan base, but certainly understand about our fan base, because I have been in that stadium countless times and thought, oh, really? So that's how it's going to end. Or, man, we could just use a little bit of baseball being baseball in our favor here. In the postseason, we've always had each year that goes by when you don't win it, and that's all that's lacking, because the resume is full, and it is an amazing resume. When your mindset is just once I'd like to be the last team standing, A, that's a little unfair because it's baseball. But B, you are always looking for problems. You're always looking for the other shoe to drop. So when that rally, and that feeling as it pertains to this weekend's games, that game down 6-3, and then boom, hit, bunch of 2-out line drives. I thought, man, in the past, it feels like one of those would have been right at somebody. Hit on the button, but just right at somebody, and we would have been unlucky. That the kid on the mound wouldn't have done what he needed to do, but he would have gotten the result that he needed, as opposed to executing a pitch to strike a guy out. And that always angers you a little bit, right? But Florida State was rewarded for good at bat after good at bat after good at bat. Florida State was rewarded for staying the course, not panicking down 5-1, not panicking when things didn't go right. They were rewarded for squaring up the baseball in big moments. And even a guy like Neaporte, who basically up until that big hit had himself a terrible game. Some of that's unlucky, but, you get thrown out with the infield back. I love you, Q, but Jesus Lord, how slow do you have to be? A triple play that you hit into. I'm getting picked off at second with the bases loaded. What are we doing here? Where the hell are you going? There were a lot of moments where I'm just thinking, my God, could a guy have a worse game? But obviously mixed in there was that hit, and it was a big one. And there have been so many moments there where you watch this team and you say, all right, they're getting big hits and big moments. They're getting guys to pitch when you have to have it. And, Tom, they're 18-3 in their last 21 games. And during those 21 games, if you look at the overall numbers, Florida State is playing as good a baseball as anybody in the country. So you could not ask to be heading to Omaha playing any better than Florida State's currently playing.
Yeah, it's not a fluky hot streak. You know, sometimes you'll see teams.
Long way. I mean, that's a long run.
The 06 Cardinals just got on a fluky hot streak. They end up winning, the World Series that year.
Screw that team eternally.
They weren't a team of juggernauts that were underachieving for 140 games, and then they suddenly, lived up to their potential. Because that's closer to what this team is. But at the same time, if you're a Florida State fan that's looking around the corner waiting for something to happen, something bad to happen, they gave you 50-plus games of evidence of all their warts. They did. I mean, this team, they took turns in each department, but most prominently in the pitching department. Second probably in base running, I would say, then defense, and then the lineup. But they gave you reasons to go, oh, man. This team doesn't even look like they're prepared to play the game. They don't know the situations. They not do situational drills in practice. But they've also, by the same token, on the other side of it, earned the praise. They've earned the
this
right.
Run, yeah.
They've earned the right to be called the hottest team in college baseball compared to where they were and where they climbed out of to where they are now. This is by far the hottest team in college baseball, and it's a team that scares the hell out of everybody else across the board in this 8-team field. You don't want to play Florida State right now because they've got some mojo going, along with the fact that they're actually really good.
Yeah, and I think the part, obviously, that you hang your hat on is that they're really good. And then that's, you love the mojo, but, again, it's a long time between now and Saturday night at 8 o'clock. And LSU has a little bit of that mojo, too. So this is a great matchup. Oh, ESPN, for as much as ESPN could care about college baseball and as much as you can only expect nominal ratings from a countrywide audience for college baseball, you couldn't have asked for this matchup to be any better, right? I'll grant you it's probably a predominantly Southern crowd that will be tuning in. I'm not so sure somebody in Wichita gives a damn about Florida State and LSU, but who cares about the Wichita market anyhow? The point is those are two programs with a lot of cachet and name recognition who are playing great baseball, and they'll be on in prime time for the College World Series. And it is, as I say aloud, over and over again, the time of the game, the achievement of the team, the scores of those games, and including the 19-0 ass beaten to stamp the ticket, right? Really remarkable that we come from a place where you had every right and every reason to be really worried about how this season was going to end. Baseball can turn around quickly. It can be a couple of subtle things. Sometimes it is somebody overcoming an injury. Sometimes it's somebody finding a pitch that's been missing. Sometimes it's coaches figuring out that they need to call the game differently. Sometimes it's a guy who you don't know is nursing a wrist problem or a shoulder problem, getting right at the right time. But when it all culminates with those elements coming together at the right time and everybody's playing well at the right time, and now the talent just takes over, the same talent that saw this team ranked number 1 before the season started, well, you breathe a sigh of relief because we almost didn't get there. It's the same team that was 2 games under 500 in the final series, going into the final series of the year against a Louisville team that hadn't lost a home series in conference since 2015, since they basically came over and joined the conference. And it all started there. But it's not a team, and this is where they get the most amount of credit from me, I think. It's not a team that let all of those past problems or any of those concerns that I just described really affect them in the next game. And it could have easily done that. I mean, there had to have been real low points for this team, whether you're talking about, getting beat 17-0 by Virginia Tech, or you're talking about a player getting suspended, a player who you suspected would be a leader and have a great year is not, and you have to suspend him and everything else. And, we've documented the 5 o'clock in the morning practice and all that stuff. I don't want to rehash all of that. But there had to have been real moments where you thought, man, and I think it was evident when Coach Martin himself, the eternal optimist and believer in his guys, said, basically, we're not hosting a regional, guys. To have it turn around at the last possible moment is not something we've typically seen around here. Because, to their credit, they're usually cruising on into the postseason and not having to fight their guts out at the end of the year to make the postseason. Maybe, just maybe, and we joke about this all the time, having to fight your guts out late in the year as opposed to winning 50 games and cruising on into the postseason is the formula. The aforementioned 50-win seasons and all the other accomplishments, while great, that hasn't equaled a championship. Maybe this is the way.
It could be. It requires a lot of things to fall in your favor, I should say. Because think about it this way. After the first game against Louisville, the Thursday night game in that 2-game series, as it ended up being, you played a lot of great baseball games, a lot of entertaining baseball games. I mean, there are times when the college game is absolutely all of a 13-8 game, and it takes 4.5 hours, not just because of the scoring, but because of all the pitching changes, and it's a labor of love to watch college baseball at times. But think about how compelling, the second game was of that Louisville series with Holton pitching the way that he did and defensively making a big play in a big situation before you expand the lead and win more comfortably in the box score, followed by the Notre Dame game and the plays that had to be made to win that one, and the Louisville game in the ACC tournament and the catch the Flowers makes where at least one run's going to score, and maybe it's a tie ball game before you know it. And then obviously getting 3 outs with the bags loaded against North Carolina, coming back, winning that game. You're one strike away against Auburn.
Your season's over.
Your season's over. So, I mean, as good as this team is playing, there still have been 4 or 5 moments that if a pitch is called a strike or an out is recorded or a hit lands safely in the field, maybe we're playing a regional somewhere else. Maybe we're not having this discussion.
I'm going to look at the Stephen Wells throw.
Yeah.
I really think, and you just mentioned it, on the list of things that had to happen, but it felt like it in the moment. We had just finished a show. And by the way, folks, we're talking about the Wells throw from right field. He's a defensive replacement in the moment against Notre Dame in the first game of the ACC tournament. Florida State's never going to host a regional if they lose that game. They're not going to win an ACC title, and they're not going to be hosting. And obviously, you'd like to think that those were all things that once they happened helped Florida State, along with their outstanding play, of course. That's the most significant factor. But if he can't throw that guy out, Notre Dame takes the lead. Now, it doesn't mean we would have lost the game because who knows? Florida State could have scored. Yeah, we still had a chance to hit, and you can't know what's going to happen there. So I'm not going to assume a loss, but you would have been in a precarious position to say the least. That throw, without question, we'll look back on it, especially if this culminates in a championship, as an incredible moment and one of the many catalysts, but perhaps the biggest, to this team doing what they did. Now, other factors that play a larger role than a throw for out in a game in the ACC tournament would be that the pitching got right just in the nick of time, that you found the off-speed stuff for Parrish and Sands, and that you had a guy pitch the game of his life out of nowhere in an emergency start for a final game coming out of a loser's bracket in a super regional. All these things are going to be big, and we'll remember them fondly. But that throw, the Wells throw, it just continues to grow and lower.
And he's had a couple of big hits, too, subsequent to that.
I'm so happy for the kid.
Obviously, you were talking to Lulu while I was out sick last week and giving the context to the listeners about
incredible,
the home run that he hit. But, I mean, he's had a couple of big hits, one in the regional weekend.
Oh, yeah.
A big hit against Tennessee Tech, and that was the early game on Sunday. I mean, consider even that game, the out that Carleton has to get after, the backs are – we're in a bad way in the early game on Sunday before you even get to the opportunity for Busby to get us out of it down 7-6 in the 9th inning. It's just the overriding truth is that we're playing much, much, much better baseball.
Well, that's obviously, you can glean that from watching, and also the record tells you every bit of that, 18-3 in the last 21.
But as we sit here on a Tuesday ahead of a game on Saturday, and I wish we were playing tomorrow, and I hope this run is continuous. I hope we roll right on through. It does not matter that we're playing in Omaha, Nebraska. The run is going to continue. You get a chance to turn around and look at everything that crumbled behind you that you walked across, over the abyss just in the nick of time before it crumbled underneath your feet. And you say, wow, all of these things happened over the last 3 weeks, and each one had to happen in order for us to be here in the College World Series. It's unbelievable.
Well, I remember doing that for one of Oregon State's titles. I remember doing that for the Fresno State title. And I know about the bat situation. Everybody will look at that title as absolutely somewhat tainted, except for Fresno State fans. If you don't know that story, go back and find that. I mean, that's the year that there was a trick you could use. I guess you'd spin the bat or something, and it would cause it to act as a springboard. And they had loaded bats, and they weren't a very good team all season long, and then suddenly they were. But there's a South Carolina title in there. There's an Oregon State title. I'm not trying to cheapen titles because Lord knows we'll take any title we can get. And sometimes you need a lot of luck and a little bit of luck and everything in between to get it done. But those years where something odd happens, where a series of things fall in I'm always so jealous, for lack of a better term, or even resentful to some degree, Depends on who the team is. That's the benefactor of those moments. And I've always thought, gosh, for as great as this program has been and the consistency with which they've played year in and year out, which has been duly noted, right? We've always said, well, lots of coaches have a title. They don't have Martin's resume, but they have a title. You know, does that guy from Fresno State go down in history as a better coach than Mike Martin because he won a title? No. You know, that's the argument you make all the time with these one-offs that caught lightning in a bottle. Like, okay, well, listen, if the only way you're ever going to judge the head coach is that he hasn't won a title, then you're going to say a lot of these guys who've never really done much, save for that one magical year they did win a title, you're going to put them in a better category than you are Martin? That's crazy, right? But secretly, while you're having that discussion and you're angered by that mindset, you have always thought, well, why can't he be rewarded for the consistency that he's shown? Why can't those breaks that we just described, some of those other teams that have won titles, befell Martin? Why can't he get that moment where the ball bounces off the bag instead of going down the line and goes right to the player who then turns and guns a guy who thought it had already gotten past first base? I mean, we've seen these things, wild pitches that hit the back of a wall and fly right back to the catcher to get the guy coming home from third on a pitch that 9 times out of 10 scurries off into the other dugout and you walk home. You know, why can't the ump who blows the call at second base where Brett Kroves slides in and he's safe by 10 feet, they call him out? Why can't that happen against their opponent in that moment, right? All of these things that you've seen happen that you begin to say, well, you're just cursed. And there's no such thing as curses. And yet you know the logical mind is telling you that, and you're like, I don't know, man. When I watch this happen, I feel like we are indeed cursed.
Florida moved on yesterday, and nobody would weep for them even if they didn't. But did you see how they got screwed on a nuance in the rule yesterday? And
I didn't bother to watch.
Okay, it was. No. Well, it was first and second. And it's a deep fly ball to right field, and so the runner tags and goes to third. And what ends up happening is the kid catches the ball clearly, transfers it, and drops the ball on the transfer. So the umpire says it's a base hit.
Which he's wrong.
He's wrong. He's dead wrong. But here's what happens. You would just think, okay, no big deal. So the runner at first base is different. It's a different player than it should be.
Right.
But because they ended up throwing in and stepping on second base, and they called a force out at second. All right? So anyway.
So you're going to get the same situation.
Right.
Basically.
You still get first and third, one out, and then there's just a different runner on first base than there would have been.
Right.
Well, here's what happened. Because the rule states that it was called a non-catch and they ruled it a catch, the runner has to go back to second. So it's first and second with one out for no damn reason.
Yeah.
Either way, you skin that cat, it should be first and third with one out. I hope something like that doesn't rear its head, but you talk about breaks and
weird
freak
things that happen over the years.
I couldn't believe that.
So when you list the series of things that had to go right and that they also produced of their own volition by making plays, which we don't want to ever take credit away from kids who make diving catches or kids who come up with 2-out, 2-strike hits in the 9th inning to save a season, because those happen too. But when you list that series of stuff, you say, well, maybe this is all, here it goes. I mean, maybe, because I dare say, again, going back several weeks, the frustration that mounted had little to do with just the results, but rather the knowledge that the team itself was talented. That the team itself, if on the right page and playing well together at the same time, was the team that was preseason ranked so highly. That the team itself, if they could get a modicum of pitching, you look at their offensive statistics this year, they're good again. They're always good. That if you looked at all of that, you'd say they're prepared to go on a run. But none of that happened for the longest time. Really, we got to a place where it was almost safe to assume it wasn't going to happen until it did. And now it's happened. And now all those things you just listed kind of fall into the category of something special's happening here. First and foremost, they're playing great baseball. So all of the teams that usually were on the right end of those kinds of plays I described were also aiding their own endeavor. They were playing well, and they made their own breaks, as you were pointing out before. But they also were the benefactor of some crazy baseball being baseball plays. And right now, we're making our own breaks, but we've had some things happen where you go, the light shines nice onto Florida State baseball here. How come you have forsaken me in the past, baseball? Maybe now you have decided the time is nigh. The time is right, that we should be the ones on the right end of those historical moments that we look back on for other teams. Perhaps that belongs to us now. It's the Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
You can tell a lot about a tractor by its warranty. That's why Mahindra makes the toughest tractors on earth. With steel, not plastic. Backed by the industry's best limited powertrain warranty, period. Not 5 years, not 6 years, but a full 7 years on select models. No wonder the other guys are green with envy.
No money down, 0% interest, and no payments until July. Available at TNT Supercenter.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck, always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
And TNT Supercenter is offering financing with 0 down, and when you buy a club car, 0% with approved credit, plus free delivery within a 50-mile radius. TNT Supercenter, US 19 South, next to Dairy Queen in Thomasville, and online at TNTSupercenter.com.
Oh no! My lunch has been ravaged by ants.
Go to Bandito's Burritos.
Out on the golf course, there are the obvious hazards. There's the pond, the bunker, the rough, the even rougher.
Yeah, put me down for an 8.
The giant maples. The row of houses out of bounds on the right. The angry flock of geese who've surrounded your ball. Even the occasional groundskeeper you had no clue was there. But if you think you found every possible hazard out there, think again. The hazard you missed could actually be a killer. It's the spot on your skin, the one that could be skin cancer. Fact is, if you're a man over 50, you're in a group most likely to develop skin cancer, including melanoma, the kind that kills 1 person every hour. 1 in 5 Americans is likely to develop a form of skin cancer during their lifetime. That's why your best shot is to check for a spot. It's easy. Follow through and check your skin. It could be the save of a lifetime. Go to spotskincancer.org to find out how. A message from the American Academy of Dermatology.
At the Home Depot, we've got more great ways to do windows than anyone. Choose from a huge selection, in-store and online. Design custom window treatments in-store or use our online tool. Even schedule an in-home appointment with a designer. With so many choices, nobody does windows like we do. Come in now for easy-to-use cordless options like faux wood blinds starting at only $24.97. From America's #1 retailer of blinds and shades, the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. Offer valid through June 30th in store and online while supplies last.
Hi, this is Chip Wade, TV host and entrepreneur. I own a construction and design business, and I never want to turn down a job because I don't have enough capital for hiring or to buy equipment. That's why Kabbage is so important. Kabbage provides lines of credit of up to $150,000. Apply online and get a decision right away. Withdraw funds whenever you need them. I signed up in a few simple steps and had funding in minutes. Kabbage has helped over 100,000 small businesses from every industry. Go to Kabbage.com/boss or 888-KABBAGE. That's Kabbage with a K. 888-KABBAGE.
Tallahassee loves the corner pocket as much as a game-winning kick.
He's got a chance. It's good from 55.
Lunchtime never tasted so good. Try the Corner Pocket's weekday lunch special, featuring a new dish each day, plus a tea, fountain drink, or domestic draft for only $7.99. And Tuesday is Trivia Night. The questions start at 7 p.m. as you enjoy $3.25 domestic Big Daddies, $6.75 domestic pitchers, and a selection of $5 apps. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. He's gone! Appalachie Parkway, next to Earth Fair.
If you weren't the owner of Gordo's and all those wonderful restaurants, Eddie, what would you be doing?
You know, I think I'd want to be I don't know what I'd want to be, a boat captain or a cowboy.
Do you know how to use a lasso?
No.
You'd have to do that if you were a cowboy.
Yeah, but I've never even been on a horse. It's not my place to be on a horse.
I agree. And the horse thanks you. Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show. Jeff Cameron Show. On 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Yesterday, but I should do it right now. Good on you, Daniel Berger, former Knoll golfer. Daniel Berger winning the FedEx St. Jude Classic 2 years in a row now. How hard it is to win on the PGA Tour. My man has just registered another victory, and that is good news for Florida State golf, which is in the midst of hearing a lot of good news these days. Not just that Daniel Berger has won, and obviously we frequently reference the kind of career Brooks Koepka's having, but partnering with the Nicklaus Group for a redesign and new golf course over at Don Veller Seminole Golf Course. That's going to be incredible, right? The idea that that's a destination that people will fly in to be a part of, to play that course, is incredible. For Tallahassee to get that, it's incredible.
As long as the
program
greens,
to get that too.
As long as the greens stay the way they are, I love them. They roll true. Good greens, the best.
They're incredible greens, Tom. And I have a suspicion that Jack's group is not going to come in there and butcher the greens.
I don't know now. Yeah.
I mean, my guess would be they get the greens right with Jack coming in here.
I have a fondness for that course. So I'm going to be sad to see it go. But, yeah, if you want to have some more downhill shots, let's do it. There are a whole lot of blind uphill shots. That is true.
I'm completely indifferent about that course. Always have been. I like several courses in the neighboring area more. And I'll be glad to see Jack's group come in and tear it up.
I played it a whole lot as
I know you
an
did.
Early undergrad. I love that course.
I mean, I've got fond enough memories, but putting courses in town I like more. So that's good. Get somebody in here.
Well, I mean, who doesn't love Killearn Country Club?
Yeah, there you go, Tom. That's well done. There you go. You saw what I was fishing for there. We're just going to keep on going down that stream. But in truth, no, I've kind of always been like, it's all right. My problem with that course is probably not going to change with this course, which is going to be incredible, I'm sure. My problem with that course is that, damn, if you can't get around in there for under 5 hours. You're going to be out there for days. Everybody's on that course and taking their sweet damn time. That's always the problem I've had. I'm like, damn it, man.
Yeah, so lack of ranger presence, and they will load up those tee sheets, won't they? And if you are, if you're out of order in any kind of way, they'll let you know about it at the desk, too. Not the friendliest bunch over there.
Well, I don't know about currently. The group from back in the day were great. The group I had from back in the day were great, but a lot of them are gone.
My undergrad days, no, they were old grumps. I grew up with New York, type of relatives and such, so I was used to it. But you go in there and go, oh, really?
So that's the way we're rolling out here today.
Treating this like it's, I don't know, Erin Hills, where we're playing the U.S. Open?
Now they'll get an opportunity to treat it like Erin Hills, like it's the U.S. Open, buddy.
Well, and if that's the case, yes, then you go, well, yes, sir. I'm sorry. I will be here 35 minutes before my tee time next time. I apologize.
Should be noted that more congratulations in the shortened segment need to go out before we take a quick respite, and that would be that Taylor Walls was drafted today by the Tampa Bay Rays in the third round, and Dylan Busby was taken by my beloved Pittsburgh Pirates in the third round as well. So 2 Knolls going today in the third round.
One more, I guess. I'm sure you mentioned it last week, or if you didn't, Jack McGuire, former Florida State golfer, also qualified for the U.S. Open this weekend.
My God, everybody's just celebrating their Knollness these days. Goodness gracious. That's right. It is U.S. Open weekend. And the good thing about U.S. Open week is we get to gamble illegally in pools all around town with bookies. Woo! Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574 4100.
You put your mower through a lot. All that back and forth can add up to thousands of miles. That's like mowing cross country. Gravely commercial mowers are built for all-day performance, helping you get the job done mile after mile. Gravely, built to mow the distance.
Get your Gravely motor only at TNT Supercenter, your one-stop shop for work or play. 14585 Highway 19 South, Thomasville, Georgia. TNTSupercenter.com.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck, always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Get charged up for what's coming next anytime, anywhere with Mountain Dew Kickstart. Available in 10 energizing flavors like mango lime, raspberry citrus, midnight grape, and orange citrus. Mountain Dew Kickstart. Fuel with flavor.
Refreshment Services Pepsi announces that Kiana Redding has been chosen Employee of the Month. An accounts receivable specialist, Kiana's determination, dedication to her work, and outstanding performance reflect the true spirit of Pepsi. Congratulations, Kiana.
Are you wanting to raise some extra cash fast? Think Thrifty Nickel. Need to clean out that garage full of stuff you never use? Think Thrifty Nickel. Need a newer car or truck and don't want to break the bank? Think Thrifty Nickel. Buying or selling, your best bet is Thrifty Nickel. All ads appear in print and online for maximum results. Place your ad today and ask for their guaranteed results special. Call 385-0505. Get your free copy of American Classifieds, available at hundreds of locations throughout the greater Tallahassee area.
How's your car's air conditioner working? Could be better? Take it to Auto Super Service Center today for a comprehensive air conditioner service. It's just $49.99. Yep, just $49.99. Since 1980, Tallahassee's trusted name for auto repairs, service, and low prices has been Auto Super Service Center. There are 5 Tallahassee area Auto Super Service Center locations. Find the one nearest you at AutoSuperServiceCenter.com and call for an appointment. $49.99 air conditioner service special is a limited time offer, so call today.
Attention investors, protect your IRA or 401k by storing your retirement at home with an Augusta Home Delivery Gold IRA. Call Augusta today at 855-858-5807 for a free guide on transferring a portion of your IRA or 401k into approved physical gold and silver coins and store them in your safe at home or at your local bank. Call 855-858-5807 today and discover how you can get up to $2,000 in silver free. Call Augusta today at 855-858-5807.
Progressive brings you Flowetry with Flow.
To count the discounts, safe driver, paperless, automatic payments, multi-car, so many a penny. Saved is a penny earned, you learn. The money you saved, it builds like a wave of dollar bills. The thrills, scary movies give me chills.
Discounts that help you save more for the things you want. From Progressive. Visit Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Discounts not available in all states or situations.
This Day in Sports, brought to you by Superlube, 19 Tallahassee area locations. Quick, convenient, no appointment necessary. Get your history lesson weekdays at 5:30 during the Jeff Cameron Show, right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Hi everyone, this is Gabe Grass, founder of Grasslands Brewing Company. You and your friends are invited for a night of celebration at Grasslands Taproom on June 29th from 6 to 10 p.m. as we finally started brewing on our production system and we're ready to distribute our kegs to a bar or restaurant near you. There will be live music by Tuesday Supper Club on the Garages on Games patio, brewery tours, food pairings by St. Everest Sausage House, and of course, Grasslands core beers and special releases just for the occasion. It's because of you that we've come this far, and we're extremely thankful. Come celebrate with us on the 29th. Prost.
Dish TV is better than cable TV. Why? Because you can save 45% on packages compared to your high-priced cable bill. Wow. Take those giant scissors out and cut the cable and save with Dish TV. Plus, you get a free DVR upgrade to record your favorite shows and free installation. And with Dish Anywhere, you can watch TV for free on your mobile device. Act fast. You can save hundreds of dollars. Does your cable company do that for you? I don't think so. Get all the best TV programming at your fingertips at a fraction of the price of cable TV. So say adios, arrivederci, goodbye to the high cable bill and save up to 45% on Dish TV packages today. These are limited time offers and can change at any time. Call fast. 800-344-2066. 800-344-2066. 800-344-2066. That's 800-344-2066.
Live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Lawn Maintenance Tuesday, presented by Miller's Tree Service. Call Miller's today at 894-TREE. That's 894-8733.
Show 97.9 ESPN Radio. You're right. I'm going to be a mess. How am I going to get to Saturday at 8 o'clock? I really want this for them. I mean, this is going to sound odd, but we're just having an honest conversation here. Over the years, there have been some, look, we're all Knowles here, but there have been some Florida State teams that, I mean, I want them all to win all the time because I'm greedy that way, and I feel like Florida State should win everything in perpetuity. But the rational side of me and the human, just the human element where there are some teams that are just more likable than others, just as players, coaches, for whatever reason, relevance to the last title that they had or whatever it might be. Now, again, my team versus that team, I'm always rooting for my team, no matter what I think about any individual or anything else. But there have been teams that really are endearing, that you cover, teams that you fall in love with a player, you'd like to see it for him. You fall in love with an assistant coach you did an interview with before the year that you learned something about and that you never knew about, and you thought, I'd like to see that guy get a title. And I'm not this isn't specific to the baseball team. This is just in general in this field that we're in. The combination of fandom to go with professionalism is a constant sort of balancing act that you're doing. And you have to be free to be able to be or try to be as objective as you can about what a team is or isn't, no matter your wants or wishes. And you also have to avoid sometimes when it's a negative thing, right? If it's there have been players that have come through Florida State's football program, let's say, baseball program, basketball program, whatever it is, you just didn't like. You just they weren't good guys, and you knew they weren't good guys. And sometimes that could temper your enthusiasm on the fan side of things when you watched a team perform, or if you tried to objectively speak about a segment of a team. If you didn't like four guys on that side of the ball, let's say, you'd be like, yeah, when they suffered setbacks, you'd go, well, good for them. They need that. They need to be humbled. It's weird that way, but the point is, more often than not, it's less about resentment or grudges or anything weird like that, and more about players and coaches that you really can get behind and root for because they're good guys, and you've seen that revealed not on the playing field, but off the playing field. You've seen that in the way that you've had conversations, or you've learned that over the course of many conversations. Obviously, I go way back with Florida State baseball, but it's not just that. It's not just all the times that we've seen this team come oh so close. There are very few people that have ever coached at Florida State in any capacity, in any program, that I have more admiration for and respect for than Mike Martin. There are coaches come and go in all sports, and assistant coaches come and go in all sports. But that guy's represented, we've talked about this before, that guy's represented the university the right way for a very, very long time. And I don't really know of anybody, even people who have been uber critical. I was critical of them this year. And I have been off and on over the course of, almost 20 years of being on the air here at times that I thought it was necessary. But even in that criticism, I don't know anybody, even those who thought it's time to move on and maybe we should get somebody else in here, or those that believe in their heart he can't win it all. I remember 7 years ago getting into a heated debate with a guy at a restaurant over that very thing. I'm like, how do you get to the final game of the College World Series and you tell me that guy can't win big games? How did he get there? And even people like that, nobody ever said they thought Mike Martin didn't represent the university well, or that they thought he was a bad coach, or that they didn't like him. I would think this would be one of those very well-received championships if it could happen. I mean, by all involved, either at the university, involved with the university, fans that have graduated and moved on and haven't been back to Tallahassee in 20 years. I mean, everybody would come together on this one, because I think everybody has wanted this for him as the cherry on top to an incredible career for a very long time.
You wanted it for Henderson, too. That's what you wanted for.
I do want it and Wells and some guys that yeah. No, there are a lot of guys that I would want it for. But, yeah, I think this is just, I'm a little bit older now, not just because it was my birthday, but I got it in. But because, I'm 46. I've been on the air almost 20 years, seen a lot of teams come and go, and a lot of characters and personalities and people in the coaching profession and players and everything else. This would be one that I think universally would just absolutely be adored, cherished, if you will, by Florida State fans and alumni for a very, very long time.
We've talked about a lot of different players over the last, 4 or 5 years, football team, basketball team, and they're all Noles. Like even when Beasley, for example, left after being a one and done.
But he embraced his time here. Yes. He really loved it.
He was here for that extra inning game against, I forget what Northeastern team it was now that I'm trying to think of it, but it was 15 or 16 innings, and he stayed there for the entire game. And we've talked about Chris Thompson in the past.
Oh, so many guys, right, that you just love, yeah.
Well, but also the extra element of them being a Nole. Like, they embrace what it means to be a Nole, and they're all Nole. DeMarcus Walker was a late flip to Florida State in the recruiting process.
Boy, did he love him some Florida State once he got here.
Odell Hagen's on signing day when they go to the party over at the Antique Museum, and there's just a different feel when Lawrence Dawsey steps to talk about the recruits that he brings in, because they're here, they're of the program, they bleed garnet and gold. Well, the original gangster of all Nole is Mike Martin. I mean, I've covered on the beat less than 10% of his career.
That's the best ever use of OG. And you didn't say OG, but you said original gangster. And if anybody ever called Mike Martin an OG, that is the coolest thing ever, because he is the original gangster of Noles, right? He was an all-world player here. He's been coaching here forever and a day. Yeah, that's him.
That is him. And it's funny, I covered 3 years, but that's less than 10% of his time here at Florida State, which is freaking nuts. But if there was ever a day that we had double duty, so it would be over at the Civic Center, and then we'd book it over to Hauser for the early portion of their season, he'd ask us all before the cameras rolled and the tape recorders, how'd the game go? What did the guys do? I mean, it was forever. He would forever be asking for updates. And it could be a nothing ACC game. It could be something that had no impact whatsoever on the basketball team season. But he always cared to ask. And he goes, hey, did you guys catch the game last night? I tell you, I walked away from that TV when they were down 5. I was angry. But I'm glad I stayed up. I mean, little things like that.
Sure.
He cares about this program across the board, all sports, so much.
A lot.
And he cares about Tallahassee, the city. I mean, if we were to win the title, I mean, that's the thing I would think about immediately. What you're talking about is that he cares more than just about his legacy on the day after the NBA Finals is over, or, the baseball program's legacy. He cares about being a Nole. He cares about Florida State having a baseball championship before he cares about himself having a baseball championship.
Yeah, and I think too, just the there's a snapshot. I think it was Riles Lee, the longtime photographer for Florida State, that caught it. But it's the picture of Mike Martin hugging his wife. That's so good, right? That genuine, that it's just wonderful. So, listen, all I'm saying, I've wanted that for a long time over there. But there's something about a title for this baseball program that we've wanted to see for a very long time. It's the close calls, it's the heartbreaks, and it's the loyalty. So those things are in abundance with that program specifically. And so if it does play out that way, I have a feeling that, again, to the extent that people invest in college baseball, obviously we're fans of the sport, and I've loved it for a long time, probably much more so than many of the Noles out there listening. But I don't mean it that way. I don't mean it in a condescending sort of dismissal of your fandom or anybody else's. I just mean I love college. I've loved that program for a long time. And there are a lot of people like me who I used to sit in the stands with in the early 90s that would go to every game, and we'd keep box scores, and we would sit and talk about the team. And I'm thinking of those people. I'm thinking about those kinds of people that have been season ticket holders for a very long time.
I was thinking in my head as you were talking, this is what made me giggle, is I've gone down to Gainesville a couple of times to cover us play from the beat perspective. So you go right down to the field right after the game's over, and you're in right field. And the first game I covered like that, we had lost. But the face that Mike Martin has after playing the Gators, especially down there, it's a very deep reference. But, Lebowski fans, when Walter goes, "It's a league game, Smokey," and he grabs his vest and he looks down. That's how Mike Martin starts his presser. He goes, "Well, it always seems we set attendance records when we come down here to play the Florida Gators." They played a mighty fine ball game tonight, but he always has to get his dig in. It's not just about being a prideful Nole. It's about embracing the rivalries and hating our rivals as much as we do in the stands.
There's a fan element to that.
Across all fronts. He's a fan, and he's involved at the same time, and that's the refreshing thing about covering that guy. It's just you hope for him that in the twilight of his time here, where I don't know that he's as hands-on as he was, say, in 1983.
He can't be.
He can't be.
No.
That maybe it's time the program gives him one back, in a sense.
Well, if it happens, it brings about an interesting question, and now we're getting way out in the weeds because we're speculating about something, and we haven't won a game in the College World Series yet, and that first game's not played till Saturday, and it's Tuesday.
That's right. You got time to dream is what this is about.
But I would wonder, and I'm just curious. I have no idea, and I don't know, but would he stick around? Would he stay to pass Augie?
Ooh, that's a hell of a question.
I think it is, because I don't think he's in it to do that. I mean, it's a nice benefit of having been successful for as long as he's been, and for as many years as he's been here. Obviously, he's in a position to do something that you very rarely are in a position to do. So there's a part of me that says that, A, it's not lost on him, because how could it? I mean, if any of us were in a position to set an all-time record, I think we would seriously consider it. So I don't begrudge that by any means. But I think he would care. If you told him, what would you rather have, a title or that record, I think he'd choose title all day long. I think this is just a happy accident that he's been around long enough to be in a position to do this. But he'd probably give back 100 wins for a couple titles without question. Without question. So, and the other thing I wonder is at that point, I mean, when you've satiated that lifelong goal, that dream of achieving that national championship season, gosh, I mean, the only thing that could equal it would be to be going back to back. And the odds of any team anywhere doing that in college baseball are very, very slim.
I wonder if, and maybe I'm speaking out of school here, but why not? Just for a moment. It's Sports Talk Radio.
Yeah.
I would think that the politics of what comes next would probably influence Martin's decision at that point, about who takes the reins.
Oh, yeah. Well, maybe, yeah. I don't know, because I don't know what those behind-the-scenes conversations are like currently. I would have thought, and we began to get a glimpse of this in the way that articles were written and conversations that have been had within the last year play out. I would have thought that would have been an ongoing thing, or maybe it is an ongoing thing currently anyhow. And I don't mean this specific moment. Now's not the time. They're going to Omaha. But that's something that any incoming coach, whether it's Mike Martin Jr. on staff, who I would think would be in the lead, or anybody else that they might interview. Certainly it's going to be a process. It almost has to be, I think, by law. You have to interview candidates. But I would think that, that this would be something that he has a hell of a say in, given his status as a legend at Florida State, an all-time Seminole great and Hall of Famer.
Well, one would think it would even bolster whatever, that grand amount of say he has in that circumstance would be. But I think also I wasn't just talking about successor, but also the marketing value, too, of breaking a record, coming back, coaching another year. capitalizing on everything that you possibly can capitalize on from an FSU marketing standpoint. I mean, those conversations are brought up too. They aren't the fun ones, but that's something that I think the university would at least double down and say, are you sure? Because we have all these grand plans laid out, and you talk about an encore season, and maybe you guys make another run at it, but we can give you the encore you've always deserved while you're still coaching.
When we talk about it out loud like that, I realize that it's absolutely absurd to think that he wouldn't come back if they win the national title this year. He absolutely would. And you would absolutely want that because it would be a fitting send-off, and it would be after winning a national title. Ooh, I would bring that up every day, like if I were him. like we could lose 5-1 to Florida Gulf Coast on a Tuesday, and I'd say, we won the national title last year. I would just bring it up.
What was that like?
Just time and again. It was fun. Over and over and over and over again. Coach, you're 10 games under 500. Are you working? No. Looking at my ring.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
You can tell a lot about a tractor by its warranty. That's why Mahindra makes the toughest tractors on earth. With steel, not plastic, backed by the industry's best limited powertrain warranty, period. Not 5 years, not 6 years, but a full 7 years on select models. No wonder the other guys are green with envy.
No money down, 0% interest, and no payments until July. Available at TNT Supercenter.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
America's #1 public utility says it's summertime, and summertime is the time to go green and save energy. Here are a few simple things you can do right now that will save energy while you try to keep out of the summer heat. First thing, get your air conditioner checked out and change your air filters. You'll be pleasantly surprised at how much energy and money you can save. Going away from home on vacation? Why not purchase a programmable thermostat to regulate your air conditioner while you're not at home? Talk about an investment that'll pay energy savings dividends. Make an appointment right away for a free energy audit from the City of Tallahassee Utilities. You never know how much energy you can save until you do it. The City of Tallahassee is offering insulation grants. Why not apply for one? Did you know that the City of Tallahassee offers loans to help with the purchase of solar water heaters? Visit talgov.com/YOU for information on loans and rebates. So stay cool, go green, and save energy all summer long. A message from the City of Tallahassee Utilities, America's #1 public utility.
Did you know that June is National Rose Month, National Camping Month, National Great Outdoors Month, and at TNT Supercenter in Thomasville, June is Make Your Own Golf Cart and Get It Delivered Free Month. This month at TNT Supercenter, with any golf cart purchase of at least $2,500, they will deliver your cart for free within a 50-mile radius of the store, and you'll also get $500 worth of free Mad Jax accessories. Choose from hundreds of items in the Mad Jax catalog, including rear seat kits, light kits, lift kits, wheels, tires, you name it, Mad Jax has it. New carts, pre-owned carts, club cars, Yamaha, and the very cool Star EV carts. If you like the sound of that, you will love the sound of a 4-year warranty on loaded brand new carts, starting at just $49.99. Trade-ins are welcome, and TNT Supercenter is offering financing with 0 down, and when you buy a club car, 0% with approved credit, plus free delivery within a 50-mile radius. TNT Supercenter, US 19 South, next to Dairy Queen in Thomasville, and online at TNTSupercenter.com. BeefO'Brady's.com.
Listen up. Dad is the man, and Beefs has a plan. Get to Beef O'Brady's on Father's Day. Buy a meal of equal or greater value, and he'll eat for free. So this Sunday, beef up Father's Day at participating locations. See Beefs for details.
How's your car's air conditioner working? Could be better? Take it to Auto Super Service Center today for a comprehensive air conditioner service. It's just $49.99. Yep, just $49.99. Since 1980, Tallahassee's trusted name for auto repairs, service, and low prices has been Auto Super Service Center. There are 5 Tallahassee area Auto Super Service Center locations. Find the one nearest you at AutoSuperServiceCenter.com and call for an appointment. $49.99 air conditioner service special is a limited time offer, so call today.
Broadcasting live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios. This is 97.9 ESPN Radio, WTSM, Woodville, Thomasville, Tallahassee. Tallahassee Sports Center.
I'm Lee Gordon, so it's off to Omaha again for the Noles, and if you haven't seen the Mike Martin video, it is epic, and it's all over social media. Florida State will meet up with LSU on Saturday in Game 1 at 8 o'clock. It's the 22nd Florida State team to make it to the College World Series, the 16th since Martin took over in 1980. The 8 teams headed out to Omaha, Oregon State, Texas A&M, Cal State Fullerton, Louisville, Florida State, TCU, LSU, and of course the Florida Gators. Well, the NBA season is officially over. We have a new yet familiar champion. The Golden State Warriors take out Cleveland. They win the series 4-1. They've now won 2 of the last 3 titles. They are the heavy favorites to do it all again next year. And some NFL news. A familiar face to the state of Florida, former Buccaneers quarterback Doug Williams has been promoted to the Senior Vice President of Player Personnel for the Washington Redskins.
Live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
And welcome to the NCAA Baseball Super Regionals here in Tallahassee. I think that a lot of people tuning in are saying, who is this Sam Houston team? Can they be for real? They're answering that. Gets the bunt down here. Squeeze, scores. 5-1. Sam Houston playing typical Bearcats baseball. They lead it by 4.
Florida State rattled at home.
What are you talking about, man? Don't go playing jokes.
The big Q, Quincy Naporti. Line drive, base hit. Busby being waved, he'll score. Cal Raleigh with 2 down here in the 7th and 2 on. Line drive, another base hit. Jackson Luke will tie it up. Hit well to the gap. That's gonna do it. Taylor Walls will win it for Florida State. What a day for Jackson Luke.
You should have killed me when you had the chance.
Hold on to your butts.
Line drive, base hit. Line drive, base hit. Line drive, base hit. Line drive, another base hit. Wow, 19 rip, Florida State.
What are you doing there?
Final hour of the Jeff Cameron Show, at least for today. I'm Jeff, that's Tom. Thanks for tuning to it. Good to be back with you on a Lawn Maintenance Tuesday edition of the program. Time to embrace and celebrate a return to Omaha. 22nd time, Florida State making their way out there with an opportunity again to cash it in, and I think they're playing exceptionally well, which has us all very eager for 8 o'clock at night on Saturday to hurry up and get here. By the way, we're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you go to listen live via the streaming free. Always don't miss anything. If you were to miss something, you can go get caught up. All 3 hours posted every day upon the conclusion of the show, both on iTunes and in our own audio vault. That is brought to you with limited commercial interruption. Thanks to our great sponsorship, our podcast sponsorship from the folks at SVN and Carlton Dean. CarltonDean.com, teaching you ways to make money in commercial real estate. Also, aware of those off-market deals, go to CarltonDean.com to learn more. You can email the show if you'd like. It's jcs@979espnradio.com. Find me on Twitter at @JCameronShow, WTSM app, mobile devices, and, of course, you can watch the show being performed on YouTube, ESPN Tallahassee. We had a hiccup to start the show, but I don't know. That all worked out. We're good. Everything's good. Just like the Noles dropping 19 runs on Sam Houston State to punch their ticket to Omaha while I was away. And so I've joked now, like, do I have to just go away? Somebody who hates my guts just now screamed, yes, but return to listen to the show. That also said, I know, man, I'm not very superstitious, but, you know, when I booked the trip to go down to Miami, at the time that I did it, it was, I don't know, month and a half, 2 months ago.
Oh, things were awful at that point.
I mean, they were dire, Tom. We were in dire straits. I said, that's it. This team's not doing anything. I'm booking a trip for Miami. I'm going down there to meet my friends and my brother, who I went to the Joshua Tree tour with 30 years ago in Tampa. I'm going to meet him down in Miami for the anniversary of that show, and we're going to go see that show, damn it.
What anniversary was it?
30th anniversary, Tom. It's hard to imagine that I was at that show 30 years ago. Drove to it. Drove myself to it. Yeah. Drove myself to that show. Anyhow, so I was going to do that, and I did do that. And then they started winning. They started winning. I jokingly said to my wife, you know, want to be like this team to get hot at just the right time and kind of salvage their season and make it to the postseason. And I don't know, I won't be able to go to that because I'll be down in Miami. And then as it grew closer, I looked and said, oh, well, they might even host, and I won't be here. And so it is. But now I feel like, well, you know, A, I can't possibly go out to Omaha, and B, I'm like, maybe I shouldn't even watch, right? Although I did watch both those games, and I've seen all these games. So I am allowed to watch. The curse doesn't work that way.
You guys want to send me to Omaha? Is that in the budget?
No.
Send me on up.
No,
I got you.
I already talked to the folks.
Intrepid reporter.
So yeah, it's I'd love to do that, Tom, but there's no way we're doing that.
Oh, we talked about getting steaks in Omaha years ago.
Well, I don't eat steak anymore, and you're not going to Omaha, so we'll watch this together Saturday night at 8 o'clock. Good times, buddy. You can get a steak wherever we're at.
Yeah.
I'm sure they got it.
That's what I wanted all along. How'd you know?
All right, perfect.
All right.
So there we go.
Congrats.
We'll go watch it there.
Yeah.
So, you know, listen, this could be the one. They're playing really good baseball. All jokes aside, all that stuff. It's so fun to watch this team play well and meet their not only the preseason expectations, but their talent level, right? Their ceiling, right? To what they could be. We thought they were a team that stacked up, looked like a team that could make it to Omaha. Need a lot of things to go well for you. They didn't have health for much of the season. They didn't play to their ability for much of the season, even when they were healthy. But they got right, certainly on the mound, and they've hit all year long, really. In fairness, they've produced runs all year long, even with different kinds of lineups that they had to roll out there due to injury. But they didn't pitch, and now they are. And I'm happy for that group, and I'm happy for those kids, obviously, and I'm happy for Mike Bell because we were starting to look with a raised eyebrow. Hard not to. I mean, let's be honest. You got guys that had high expectations, has good stuff. Cole Sands got good stuff. When he doesn't pitch well, you got to wonder why the hell he's not pitching well, right? And we did, often. And even earlier this year, Holton's been good all year, but he hasn't been as dominant as he's been during this last trek. And you didn't really have a third starter. You tried a bunch of different guys, didn't work out. And you had situations where the guy that could have easily been the third starter or the two starter for that matter, you'd moved to the bullpen. He wasn't pitching in leverage situations, high leverage situations, and you were beginning to get very frustrated. I know I was, and I voiced that, and I don't really back down from that. I'm just glad that it got righted. I'm glad that that they were able to play their best baseball at the end of the year when they absolutely had to have it. And that's what you bring to the table now is a team that's hot, that's playing well, and that quite clearly believes. And so things have worked out, and now they go, and you hope that momentum can be carried out to Omaha. They got a great team they're facing in LSU who's played really well also at the end of the year. So you got two hot teams, two storied programs going head-to-head in Omaha for Game 1, Saturday night, 8 o'clock, prime time. Bam! Good times, baby.
It feels so much more rewarding to watch it play out this way. You'd want to be in Omaha no matter what because it's the first time in 5 years, and that's long enough for this program to be without going to Omaha. But remember, I'll use a football analogy, even though sometimes we use it the wrong way. But the 2014 team, the football team here, makes the postseason, makes the college football playoff, first ever college football playoff. We felt like they were being besmirched for having won all their games. They went undefeated through the regular season, and somehow they kept dropping.
Not tonight, haters.
Right, not tonight, haters. There was a rewarding element to that, but then there was also this feeling that, man, these guys are coasting. They're not
playing to the best of their ability, yeah.
The attitude of domination thing, which is how that season started, and that was the motto heading into the year.
Wasn't working.
It stopped and was turned into, hey, smell the roses, everybody. Let's all just take a breath and enjoy and embrace where we are. And while that's great and you feel all the same butterflies before kickoff of the Rose Bowl game in the semifinals, when they lose, you go, ugh, well, I mean, at some point, it was going to turn midnight for this team that didn't want to play up to the standard. When you watch a team like this one that has an attitude about it, that goes out and gets it and earns it, sure, none of us wanted them to have their back against the wall, and it was the last possible minute that they could come out and fight and earn their place in Omaha and pave the way to host a regional, let alone host a super regional. But damn it, they did. And so watching the rise and watching the complete turnaround is as entertaining as anything I've watched in Florida State athletics in some time. This is really, I hope this doesn't end in an 0-2 and Q. I hope it goes on for another week and a half, 2 weeks, because the ride has been so much fun when it looked like at one point a month ago that, oh man, we weren't even going to be talking about Florida State baseball into the second week in June.
And thank goodness we are. And you look at the field, and I said going in that you'd be hard-pressed to find a team that's playing better or is hotter than Florida State, save for Oregon State. But because I don't get to watch Oregon State baseball and haven't, all I can do is look at the numbers, try to compare that to teams that you know have strong programs traditionally that they've faced on their schedule. And it's just hard to get a real good gauge on what they are. I will say some of the numbers for that Oregon State team, whom we aren't playing in our side of the bracket. Who we are playing on our side of the bracket, but not in the first game. We got LSU.
Not immediately.
Yeah, not immediately. But when you look at them, they're 54-4. That's the highest winning percentage in Omaha in 35 years. They haven't trailed at the end of an inning in the last 7 games at any point. Oregon State's pitching staff has a 1.80 earned run average. That's just dumb. Oregon State has won 21 in a row by a combined score of 158-41. I mean, they're not playing nobodies. They breeze through Vanderbilt. I mean, they're just beating people's asses this isn't seen in baseball. It's bizarre. They've outscored their opponents entering the College World Series in these regional games that they played, I should say, the 2 rounds of the regional, 44-9. 44. This is just ridiculous what they've done to people.
Yeah, it's fitting that they're in the Pacific Northwest, too, in this sense, because it just happens in the dead of night, and they're there, and they're into the next round, and they're into the College World Series.
You just look up, you're like, oh, yeah,
there they are. Okay, well, they keep moving along, and it'll become very real very quickly because we get to watch. I mean, isn't that the best part? You get to watch 2 games. I know this happens in regional play. It's not a new phenomenon for Florida State fans.
Right.
But you're getting to watch the cream of the crop and scout them before we play, hoping that, perhaps Cal State Fullerton were to come away victorious.
Sure.
If you can be so bold and worry about another game other than your own. But, I mean, damn it. These are the problems that we currently have. We get to look
good problems to have, buddy.
At the best
teams. I like
teams.
trading in bad problems for better problems. You're always going to have problems. Let's trade them in for the better problems. Like, how do we win in the College World Series? Yes, that's a good problem to have.
You've gone from your 2 starters not named Holton have a 6 ERA in conference play with only a weekend to go to, oh, well, goodness gracious, we have 4 or 5 quality arms that we really like here.
And to that end, Tom, Florida State starting pitchers have allowed 9 runs and 48 NCAA tournament innings, good for a 1.89 ERA this postseason. That's on the table.
Get you some.
That is on the table. Now, if you're looking at some of the other teams, it's rather remarkable. You know, TCU, for example, is playing Florida. You may wonder if you're rooting against Florida the way that most all reasonable people would be. TCU's pitchers have struck out 593 batters. That's 10-plus Ks in 27 games in this postseason. I mean, that's doing some things. By the way, Oregon State's strikeout to walk ratio, second best in the nation, 52-11. And Florida has won 18 one-run games, the most in the nation, having 3 NCAA tournament games going into extra innings. So, yeah, they barely got in, but they got in. Give them credit. They won close games, a lot of them, more than anybody else in the country.
Yeah, again, you can enter Omaha feeling differently about your club. You can feel they coasted, you can feel they lucked their way in, or you can feel they earned their way, and we are the latter example. We've earned our way into Omaha.
I just keep looking at these numbers from Oregon State, Tom, while we're talking about this, because I'm plucking certain numbers that might be relevant and fun for our side of the bracket, and also mutual interest, right, with Florida and all that stuff. Oregon State, they're winning their NCAA tournament games by an average of 7 runs, as I mentioned a moment ago. But during the season, they went 13-1 in one-run games as well. I mean, it doesn't matter how you play them. They just win the damn games.
But if there's anything that this format will teach you, and it's a hard lesson, is that it's a 9-inning game, you know? And all of a sudden you're in the loser's bracket, and you got to climb your way out, and that mountain may be too tall for you to climb. So you better win game 1.
Yes, and also when you're talking about hot teams and you're talking about what LSU is and what we are, it is pretty cool to note, and I certainly would if I were them, Cal State Fullerton was the only team to win a Super Regional on the road going into the College World Series. So
they beat the Dirtbags.
Yeah, they got to be after losing game 1, right? So they had to come out of that, and they got to be feeling very good about themselves. Louisville, 5-0 in the NCAA tournament, but despite the fact that their best player, the McKay kid, was in a funk at the plate, 3 for 20, and they still moved on without a problem. LSU has the most amount of championships in the field with 6, as we well know, 6 national championships for them.
It's funny to see Louisville cruise after they had so many problems with us.
They looked bad at the end, didn't they?
Yes, they looked really bad because they lost us 3 straight times to close out their regular/conference championship season, and then all of a sudden, here they are, no problem. They go right through Kentucky. That was supposed to be, we were hoping it to be one of those 3-game classics, but it didn't turn out that way. Louisville just handled business.
And this makes you cringe, and we'll move on to some other things here in a second before we return to Florida State baseball. But I want to mention that, obviously, this is Florida State's 22nd College World Series appearance. That puts the Noles with Arizona for the 3rd most trips out to Omaha all time. Unfortunately, and we all know the second part of this, for Florida State, all by themselves and having the most College World Series berths without winning it. You know who's behind them? The most College World Series berths. It is a traditional team and one that's had a solid program. It's not on the plane of LSU or Florida State or Miami or whatever. But the program that's had the most appearances without winning it after Florida State. And Florida State, by the way, is in the lead by a lot.
Florida?
No, but I would imagine they're getting very close at this point. Sure. Actually, I can... Yeah, they are getting pretty close.
Arizona State, I don't know.
No. Clemson, another ACC team.
Really?
Yeah. Clemson's gone 12 times without ever winning it. And,
you're right. There is a bit of a gulf there, 22-12.
Yeah, 22-12. 22. Damn it, man. Let this be the one. It hurts. Stung a little. I can see it on your face.
Yeah.
You're like...
Man, I want to think positively. Let's just.
No, I'm not thinking negatively. I actually love the place we're at right now going into this thing. I feel good about where we're at. And you got to keep getting out there to eventually get past that. It's just that when you read that, when you say that aloud, yeah, there's no way not to shudder a little bit when you're like, oof, it's not even close. It's like we've been out there by far more than anybody else without winning it. But this will be the time, Tom, and that will be a moot point.
So lightly, please do not disturb my sleep.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
You put your mower through a lot. All that back and forth can add up to thousands of miles. That's like mowing cross country. Gravely commercial mowers are built for all-day performance, helping you get the job done mile after mile. Gravely, built to mow the distance.
Get your Gravely motor only at TNT Supercenter, your one-stop shop for work or play. 14585 Highway 19 South, Thomasville, Georgia. TNTSupercenter.com.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck, always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from LoCash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Hooters makes you happy. 2000 North Monroe Street, online at Hooters.com or call them at 385-2004.
Attention investors, protect your IRA or 401k by storing your retirement at home with an Augusta Home Delivery Gold IRA. Call Augusta today at 855-858-5807 for a free guide on transferring a portion of your IRA or 401k into approved physical gold and silver coins and store them in your safe at home or at your local bank. Call 855-858-5807 today and discover how you can get up to $2,000 in silver free. Call Augusta today at 855-858-5807.
Progressive brings you Flowetry with Flow.
To count the discounts, safe driver, paperless, automatic payments, multi-car, so many a penny. Saved is a penny earned, you learn. The money you saved, it builds like a wave of dollar bills. The thrills, scary movies give me chills.
Discounts that help you save more for the things you want. From Progressive. Visit Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Discounts not available in all states or situations.
Get your weekend started right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Saturdays at 6 a.m. with Fishing Florida Radio. Listen to the three amigos, Boudreaux, Steve Chapman, and Captain Mike Ortega as they catch you up to speed on what's new and biting in the North Florida region. Big-time guests, celebrities, interviews, and 3 hours of the fishing info you need. Fishing Florida Radio is brought to you by Sea Quarters Marina off Highway 98 in Carabel. Sea Quarters Marina, your full-service marina, and presented by Hobbit American Grill, locally owned and operated since 1978.
When it comes to live gaming excitement, Creek Entertainment Gretna is your hometown headquarters. With live poker and simulcast race betting, you've got more winning opportunities right here close to home. Plus, we now offer 3-card poker and Pai Gow in our card room. Satisfy big appetites at Stables, featuring hot and cold sandwiches, salads, and weekend specials. There's always something exciting going on at Creek Entertainment Gretna. I-10, exit 174, Gretna, Florida.
Parker Brothers Roofing says don't play games with your roof. Protect your home and your family. The Parker Brothers tell you the truth. We'll fix your roof, 'cause it's what we do. With quality, integrity, and pride. Parker Brothers Roofing, professional every time. Stay safe and dry inside.
Hey, I'm Travis with Parker Brothers Roofing. Some roofers are like a bad boyfriend. They make lots of promises, but in reality, they're just cheap. They don't own up to their mistakes, and they leave you with a lot of regret. Parker Brothers Roofing stands behind every installation, and if a mistake is made, we own it and fix it. Our customers never have to worry about being left behind for the next job. At Parker Brothers, it's quality that builds our quantity. Call us at 656-8112.
Parker Brothers Roofing, professional every time. Stay safe and dry inside.
License number CCC 049350.
Listen up. Dad is the man, and Beefs has a plan. Get to Beef O'Brady's on Father's Day. Buy a meal of equal or greater value, and he'll eat for free. So this Sunday, beef up Father's Day at participating locations. See Beefs for details.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
My friend, we are 75 days away from the start of college football. What? 75 days. It is rapidly approaching, and, I find that once you get into the 60s, time tends to fly past, at least from an organizational standpoint, where we're trying to get ready for our broadcast, figuring out what we're doing and where we're going to be in Atlanta for that game, but also just in terms of preparations. I'm sure coaches begin to kind of turn the corner now, which is one of the many reasons I'm sure Bob Stoops said, if I'm going to do it, if I'm going to walk away, got to get to stepping, because in about a week or so, I got to imagine, coaches are control freaks, and obviously they prepare, and never feel like they have enough time to prepare. But you know as well as I do, any big event in your life, any big some sort of a momentous occasion that's going to take place, when you get a couple months out from that, it starts to be omnipresent on the mind.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I wonder, too, how much preparing you can do outside of watching their film. But, there are spring games, there are summer workouts, and fall camp, and at each one of those points you develop as a player. So how much are you really preparing for at this point? Maybe you can set up protocols that make you more efficient for when the players come back for fall camp, but there's only so much tape of the past that you can review for what Jeremy Pruitt likes to do on defense, or what Alabama's new offensive coordinator likes to do, or what some of their superstar players can do on offense. At some point, time runs out on that. Or now you're just staring at the tree in the middle of the forest instead of seeing the big picture.
Yeah, and I think you're right. I think you're preparing much more for what you want to do and what your team needs to get better at, what your team has to prepare in order to execute your offense or your defense. I don't think it's a lot right now. There's nothing right now, but you know what I mean in terms of the way that they're thinking. I would guess for game one, like you said, and, Jimbo Fisher has talked about this in the past, people don't get too far removed from what they are. And so when you bring up the fact that Jeremy Pruitt, preparing for what he does, he worked with him closely every day. He knows exactly what Jeremy Pruitt's going to do. They're not going to come out with some newfangled defense you've never seen. They're going to run what they run. And they got really good players. And the better players you have, the less you have to do to confuse. You can line up and run what you run. So I don't think there's any question that Coach Fisher and staff know what they're going to see, at least from an X's and O's standpoint, but rather what they want to do against that and how best to execute against that and how best to get that prepared and organized moving forward. And it's not that distant in the future, man. You can now start to see the light at the end of the tunnel for football desperate folk. 75 days, not that far away.
I'm just saying, again, when DeAndre Francois theoretically is
what would he be doing right now?
Well, yeah, but he's going to be a better quarterback by the end of fall camp than he is now. Or you don't know who your offensive line 5-man rotation is right now. So you don't know what the strengths of your offensive line are necessarily. So you don't know where you want to run the ball. You don't Patrick versus Akers versus Rasul versus you've got some position battles to iron out. So how can you fully install what you want to do or get an idea of what you want to do if you don't know what the ready-made version of your players is going to be in week one?
But certainly you can project what you think there are enough guys, first of all, that you know where they're going to be, and you can project what you think the others will be, especially if you were to circle an element of Alabama's defense that you say, well, this is a matchup that if I were them, I would try to exploit against us. So you start thinking along those ways, yeah.
But after you circle it, what do you do? Do you drop a training program for the kid in his voluntary summer workouts that you can't talk to him about?
Well,
he has to go through that?
You go into the underground bunker, the indoor practice facility that's underground that we don't tell anybody about, and you practice nonstop, and you improve yourself greatly. And that's well-funded, that underground bunker, and we need to build more of them, all about town.
I could see that, and again, to a coach, I'm sure, or a former coach, you're laughing at this particular conjecture, but I could see where you're working on training programs for every one of the players. You're getting reports on their height, not their height, but their weight, their body fat, their
That'd be
speed.
pretty hilarious if he was called, how tall is he now?
Right, exactly. Has he grown 2 inches already?
He's still 6'1", Coach. He's also 22 years old. He's probably not going to change much.
I thought DeAndre would be 6'5" by now. Damn it.
He's still 6'1", Coach.
But their speed metrics, all that stuff, to see how they're progressing, and then maybe you draw up certain things that you want them to work on in fall camp.
It's actually an interesting question. I don't know. I'd like, Coach, if you're listening, call in and let us know what you're thinking about today, 75 days out from practice. Coaches worry themselves about every detail, so there is always something to be thinking about. Now, implementing that, employing that, how much can you do, right?
Well, maybe they're deconstructing the Louisville film even more, and they're looking back and preparing for Louisville in October because they weren't ready for him last year.
June is the month where coaches do get a little bit of a vacation, so maybe they're doing none of that. Maybe that is an overzealous talk show host and his producer morphing into rabid fan mode and wondering aloud because, damn it, I know we all are, what this team's going to look like 75 days from now because, damn it, man, I can't be more excited about a game. And at the same time, by the way, when we did those little kind of previews with the Bama site and War Chant, BamaInsider.com and WarChant.com, and I think the first two are up right now. I've been away, but I think those first two are up. One of the things that we were talking about is with a game of this magnitude, what does it mean? How much does it mean? Is it a big deal for either team? It is for fans always if it's 1 versus 2, 1 versus 3. And it is historically speaking, as we know, because I went back through and you won't find a higher ranked set of teams if they are 1 and 2 or 1 and 3 for a opening college football weekend. You got to go back 50 years of preseason rankings. So it's obviously, in that sense, it's a big deal for college football. It's a big deal for the networks. It's a big deal for us to talk about and for fans to get excited about and for the teams to play in. But to the extent that it's going to affect the overall outcome of your season, and you can certainly see where it's not nearly as important as we feel that it is, because you could lose that game 27-17, and it might actually boost your chances by season's end, even with a loss, of making the playoff because you played it.
Oh, either way, if you have a loss next year and it's either a loss to Alabama or to somebody else, the fact that you played Alabama and you got a result in that game, your resume is much stronger than most other teams outside of the SEC for that simple reason.
And it's not a conference game, so it doesn't affect your chances of playing in the ACC championship or winning your division or winning the ACC or being, it's a prestige game. And I think the only result you can't have is the result that Southern Cal had. You can't go and get beat 52-6 because I don't know that. Well, first of all, I do know if at the end of the year you got a couple losses and one of them is 52-6, or you're not going to get the benefit of the doubt. But if you win this game close, Florida State wins this game close, Alabama's fine the rest of the way. It's provided they take care of business. And if you lose this game, fairly close, Florida State's still fine. I just think it's the cumulative effect of playing Alabama and Miami and NC State with those defensive lines so early in the season.
Maybe that's what they're preparing for right now.
Right. How do you do that? Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
You put your mower through a lot. All that back and forth can add up to thousands of miles. That's like mowing cross country. Gravely commercial mowers are built for all-day performance, helping you get the job done mile after mile. Gravely, built to mow the distance.
Get your Gravely motor only at TNT Supercenter, your one-stop shop for work or play. 14585 Highway 19 South, Thomasville, Georgia. TNTSupercenter.com.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck, always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Offers loans to help with the purchase of solar water heaters? Visit talgov.com/YOU for information on loans and rebates. So stay cool, go green, and save energy all summer long. A message from the City of Tallahassee Utilities, America's #1 public utility.
Did you know that June is National Rose Month, National Camping Month, National Great Outdoors Month, and at TNT Supercenter in Thomasville, June is Make Your Own Golf Cart and Get It Delivered Free Month. This month at TNT Supercenter, with any golf cart purchase of at least $2,500, they will deliver your cart for free within a 50-mile radius of the store, and you'll also get $500 worth of free Mad Jax accessories. Choose from hundreds of items in the Mad Jax catalog, including rear seat kits, light kits, lift kits, wheels, tires, you name it, Mad Jax has it. New carts, pre-owned carts, club cars, Yamaha, and the very cool Star EV carts. If you like the sound of that, you will love the sound of a 4-year warranty on loaded brand new carts, starting at just $49.99. Trade-ins are welcome, and TNT Supercenter is offering financing with 0 down, and when you buy a club car, 0% with approved credit, plus free delivery within a 50-mile radius. TNT Supercenter, US 19 South, next to Dairy Queen in Thomasville, and online at TNTSupercenter.com.
Look at that mouth. That poor, parched mouth. So dry. What'd you eat for lunch? Chalk dust? Did your mouth cannonball into a barrel of mothballs? You're being awfully quiet. Is that because your mouth feels like the business end of a Dremel saw? Is it because your mouth just wrote a haiku and all 17 syllables were dry heaves? You're so parched. You know it. I know it. The entire radio knows it. Just admit it. You want a Mountain Dew. Your mouth feels like it just inhaled the insides of a punching bag, and the only remedy is that neon green potion. Right now, your mouth could be tongue-bathing in the refreshing citrus kick of Mountain Dew. Instead, it feels like you've been motorboating King Tut's sarcophagus. Show some mercy. Crack open an ice-cold Mountain Dew. You know your mouth wants you to. Do the Dew.
Refreshment Services Pepsi announces that Kiana Redding has been chosen Employee of the Month. An accounts receivable specialist, Kiana's determination, dedication to her work, and outstanding performance reflect the true spirit of Pepsi. Congratulations, Kiana.
This Day in Sports brought to you by Superlube. Superlube, 19 Tallahassee area locations. Quick, convenient, no appointment necessary.
This Day in Sports History. June 13th, 2002. The Detroit Red Wings beat the Carolina Hurricanes 3-1 in Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Finals to bring another championship to Joe Louis Arena. This would be the 9th championship for Coach Scotty Bowman, which is an NHL record that still stands. After the title, Bowman would retire from hockey.
For better gas mileage and a longer-lasting engine, change your vehicle's oil at Superlube every 3 months or 3,000 miles, whichever comes first. For good times and family fun, Tallahassee heads to the Fun Station. And right now, when you change your oil at Superlube, you'll get a $15 Fun Station gift card. You don't need an appointment. You'll be in and out in no time. And with 19 Tallahassee area Superlubes, there's probably one right around the corner right now.
How I love to Superlube my car, yes sir.
Tallahassee Sports Center.
I'm Lee Gordon, so it's off to Omaha again for the Noles, and if you haven't seen the Mike Martin video, it is epic, and it's all over social media. Florida State will meet up with LSU on Saturday in Game 1 at 8 o'clock. It's the 22nd Florida State team to make it to the College World Series, the 16th since Martin took over in 1980. The 8 teams headed out to Omaha, Oregon State, Texas A&M, Cal State Fullerton, Louisville, Florida State, TCU, LSU, and of course the Florida Gators. Well, the NBA season is officially over. We have a new yet familiar champion. The Golden State Warriors take out Cleveland. They win the series 4-1. They've now won 2 of the last 3 titles. They are the heavy favorites to do it all again next year. And some NFL news. A familiar face to the state of Florida, former Buccaneers quarterback Doug Williams has been promoted to the Senior Vice President of Player Personnel for the Washington Redskins.
Live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Lawn Maintenance Tuesday, presented by Miller's Tree Service. Call Miller's today at 894-TREE. That's 894-8733.
Wrapping it up, Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. We kind of talked about this all afternoon. I'm a little torn on the matchup against LSU, but at the same time, I feel like if you get by LSU, you're playing, besides Oregon State, the most, the hottest team, one of the hottest teams in the country, along with us. LSU is a team that was funny. I thought just a few weeks ago, if this was all going to pan out, we were talking about whether or not this team could make the College World Series. At that time, we were talking about basically getting paired in the Gainesville Regional is what we assumed would happen. Florida's just not playing all that well. I'd love to play Florida right now. I'd love to play them this very first game. I wish we were playing Florida. It just shows you how quickly things can change. I say Florida's not playing well. They're off to the College World Series, but they haven't looked very good. They haven't been a dominant team in some time. And LSU right now is playing about as well as anybody in the country. And you go back and look at what they did in terms of getting hot. And we talk about playing well, but you go 3-0 in the regional and you beat Texas Southern, you beat Southeastern Louisiana, you beat Rice. Then you go 2-0 in the super regional by beating Mississippi State. Cruised right through. Really has had very, very little trouble over their last 20 games.
Looked like Mississippi State might be taking game one, but then once LSU wins game one, that's it. You could just see the expressions on the faces of either dugout. You thought, well, you're going to win two in the box. Yeah, good luck winning 2 in a row there. It's incredible to me, again, how, the Parrish start or on Sunday night, rather, notwithstanding, because there's low pressure. I mean, even all those performances at some point become low-pressure performances from Parrish and Sands and the inning that Carp gave you, because it's 18-0, 19-0 by the time that Carp gets in. That pitching has become
the dominant factor?
It's the reason. If you're picking Florida State, you're saying, well, they have 4 or 5 options. So even if they were to split their first 2 games, they have enough to get out of the hole they've dug themselves in and then put themselves in a position to go play in the best of 3. It's just, like you said, things change very quickly. It's just amazing how pitching, of all things.
Well, I go back to that interview that we did with Mike Martin Jr. There was a little moment at the beginning of the interview where it's somewhat contentious, but really it was revealing if you get beyond just him and I going back and forth about the kind of season it was and really kind of look at some of the things that he said. And one of which was he was talking about, when I asked him about Sands is when I think it came up, but he was just talking about pitch selection and kind of sometimes it's the way you call a game. I don't think he said call a game, but sometimes it's what pitches you call. Sometimes it's something that happens behind a guy. I think they discovered something. I think there was some sort of conversation had between the coaches and these pitchers that have all performed so well here down the stretch. And I don't mean it as they had to come to Jesus. I think it was sort of what good coaches do, which is when something's not working and you feel like you're kind of beating your head against the wall, but you're not questioning the talent of the player. In college, this is especially true. I think you go to the player and say, we're going to try something different, or what would you like to do? What do you feel more comfortable doing? I don't know how that conversation would have gone. I'm not a pitching coach or a baseball coach at all, but clearly they found something, and he said it was the changeup. He talked about, and he said it with more than one guy. He talked about Parrish. He talked about
Sands too.
Sands finding the changeup. And I think some of that maybe was brought about in terms of the way that they called the game. Because these guys have pitched with the utmost of confidence in a way at the end of the year that would not belie the season that they had. There was no reason for them to have that confidence. They hadn't shown that they could get big outs with any consistency. and they hadn't shown that they could beat real good teams. And then they did. And now they can't stop. And now when they take the hill, you are brimming with confidence just as they look like they are. And then the actions speak for themselves.
Yeah, as long as they're landing their off-speed stuff and they're spotting
That's
it where
what it
they
is.
need to, then it could be a long day for the opponent. And that's, it's an empowering feeling for all parties involved. The pitchers on the mound themselves, the coaching staff. How about the lineup? How about the defense? If you know that your guy is on his game, you can see how across all
together.
super regionals and across all regionals, especially in college baseball, these things are contagious.
Sure.
Good play, bad play. I mean, it felt like everything that could go wrong did go wrong for Florida State in game 1 of the super regional. The way that we fielded bunts, there's a base running problem here or there, situational hitting, first few innings. But then all of a sudden, everything was righted.
Yeah.
Maybe there was a message in the dugout because these runs end up being fluky. When you end up winning that game, you look back and you say, these are fluky runs. But when you're in the midst of it, you say, well, good Lord, here it rears its head again that this team is losing composure in key moments.
It was frustrating, I thought, for Holton, who pitched well in that game and kind of got screwed. Now, he was responsible for one of the problems. So, yeah, but I feel like
when Henderson doesn't cover first base.
Right.
It's like, guys, there was one scouting report on this team offensively.
And that's what they do, right?
What's the quirk of Sam Houston State?
It's weird, too, though. You survive that. I guess that's the right word. You kind of overcome that, and you never felt like I didn't. I was on the road, but I watched the games. I was able to take in all of the, both games. And I just, not all of the second game because I had to go in for the U2 concert. Once the score was out of hand, we were all good. But, and thankfully they made it really easy on me. But, when you overcome that with a succession of hits, when you have to have them, many of them 2-out hits, boom, 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 the lineup contributing the same way that the pitching did once they settled down, you didn't feel like game 2 was going to be a problem. I didn't. I felt like Sam Houston State, I know they were going to throw their ace, and you kind of thought, well, we'll see. They saved their ace, and maybe not a bad strategy in this situation. If they could steal one, now they got this guy. I don't know. I have felt so good since beating Louisville, and I've talked about this openly on the air. This isn't looking back now and changing tunes. We said that they look, we criticized them when they deserved to be criticized, when they played poorly and they did things that led to losses, and they were wildly inconsistent in certain fundamental areas of the game. But when they went on the road and got those 2 wins against Louisville, and the way they won that first game and overcame a bad start and won 12-9, won that second game, and then got on into the ACC tournament, got another win over Louisville, and you could see it building and the way they played with confidence and how all of a sudden it looked, as you just noted, infectious, and that you just trusted. Maybe to some extent it's a throw from Wells in the Notre Dame game that gives you a chance, and you go from there. Whatever it is, I have felt good about these games, and I feel good now. I will say LSU's a different animal. They're accustomed to being out there. They've won it a bunch, and they're playing exceptionally well right now, and they'll play with the same kind of confidence that Florida State's going to play with. I think it's just a great matchup. Like, if you can remove your fandom from the situation, if you're just a fan of college baseball as opposed to one of the two teams, you would look at this matchup and say, well, this is marquee. I really want to watch this matchup. These are two teams playing exceptional baseball with great pedigrees.
Oh, yeah, that's absolutely why this is the 8 p.m. game and not Fullerton and Oregon State.
Sure.
Even though those two teams obviously deserve to be there, and Oregon State scares the living daylights out of you in that bracket. I mean, the level of this bracket has been ratcheted up. It is commensurate with being in the College World Series. But, the one thing, again, not going back and rewriting history, but every time we criticize this team, we beat it home because the potential was at a different level. Yeah, it's just different. It's different than it's been. That's been the case all season long. Now, by the same token, if this team were to fall short in Omaha because of base running mistakes or a lack of IQ of what base to throw to or defensive miscues,
some of the things we saw during the year,
that wouldn't surprise you either, because that's what this team is. That it has its flaws, it has its problems, and the margin for error is now slimmer. So, are they playing at a level that is right up there with what we thought they could perform at? Yeah, they're one of the last 8 teams in the country to still be playing baseball.
Anything that happens now is a success.
They were a consensus top 10 team in the beginning of the year. And that wasn't something that we looked at Baseball America or any of the other polls, the coaches, and said, What are you looking at? No, we felt that way here too. So now they're living up to that billing, but when the margin is like this, if they fell short because of a detail, that wouldn't surprise me either.
All you want when you get out to Omaha, this has been my experience over the many years that I've covered this team, watched this team, rooted for this team, and even gone out to Omaha to watch this team. You can live with getting beat when you're one of the 8 teams standing, because it's so hard to do. And you have already achieved something. Now, you won the conference title, you won 2 regionals. You have clearly separated yourself from the rest of the country and proved yourself to be an elite program this season for sure. And obviously at places like Florida State and LSU and other places, history rich, they've proven it time and again. You need some things to go your way out in Omaha. That's always the way it is. Usually the team that wins it, you can go back on their run. Very few times have you watched a team go into Omaha and just beat the bejesus out of people. It happens, but it's very rare. Usually there's a moment in a game, it's 4-4 in the 8th, and a guy with 2 outs and 2 strikes and a runner at second gets the big hit, or somebody does something Herculean to save a run, a diving catch or a throw home. But there's a pivotal moment that if it goes the wrong way, you don't win the College World Series. And I've always felt like out there have been too many of those moments that didn't go Florida State's way. But if you play well and it just doesn't happen, you can live with it. If you play poorly, if you do the things that we're talking about that cost them games this year, that doesn't sit well because they're better than that, or they can be.
Not trying to be a pessimist here because I feel really good about this team. This is as excited I've been to watch Florida State baseball in Omaha since undergrad, since the Posey teams.
Yeah, they're good enough to win the whole thing.
Oh, yes, they are.
Yeah.
And the thing is, you make your own luck, too, at certain points along the way. And I think the unique thing about this run, I'm thinking it is, the unique thing about this run is you needed all of these things to happen in sequence for about 3 weeks straight.
And then it did, yeah.
I mean, go back to the throw. Go back to the Stephen Wells throw. How about the J.C. Flowers catching the gap against Louisville in the ACC tournament? How about Drew Parrish
bases loaded situation?
Bases loaded, nobody out. He gets 3 Ks. How about Dylan Busby down 7-6 in the 9th, 2 outs, 2 strikes? I mean,
yeah, your season's over.
You've had a monumental amount. I even think a really big play in Game 1 of the Super Regional, said it earlier, was when it's 5-1, Sam Houston tries to score 2 runs off that bunt play when they go to first base. I mean, who knows? If you still have second and third and 2 out in that situation, maybe they extend the lead to 7-1, and you're demoralized and you can't climb all the way back the way you would do it. A lot of things have already fallen the way of Florida State, whereas a lot of College World Series teams in the past, well, they won 45, 50 games en route to Omaha.
That's right.
This one is on a roll.
Yeah, and you can describe whenever you see teams get it's probably unfair to call it a break, right? I mean, he got the hit off the wall with 2 outs and 2 strikes. That happened. He legitimately pulverized that baseball with the whole season on the line. And I joked about that the next day, was that Busby didn't just swing to move a guy over and hand it off to the next guy. He swung with the greatest of confidence in the moment that would be the most tense. It's amazing to me that he did it. They do have a lot of guys like that, though. And that usually tends to have the makeup, right, of a team that just doesn't – hey, you got to be careful. They just don't care about the result that is negative. So
they don't look down.
They don't sit around thinking, well, this could happen if I do this. They don't appear to be that team. They're the team that plays the next play, the next pitch in this case, right? They make mistakes and they play the next inning, and they play in a way that shows they're not burdened by the mistake or by the fear of what could happen that doesn't go in their favor.
That was the thing we said the Monday after the Wake Forest series here in town, about how they fought all the way back, and they get to the precipice on Sunday of winning that ball game, and they showed great heart on Saturday playing 1.5 baseball games and outscoring Wake 7-0, but splitting those 2 games 1-1. And he said that's great that they've got heart, and they showed a lot of heart this weekend, but you need results. Well, since
start
then,
winning games, they've had nothing but results.
Nothing.
I think 24-6 basically since that start of the season at 21-15.
Yes, they are, and they've lost. I'm just doing the quick math in my head since that Wake Forest lost. You lost 0 in the ACC tournament.
Yeah.
You lost 1 regional game, and you didn't lose 1 in the Supers. So
yeah, they keep on keeping on.
There you go.
Yeah, it's been
that'll
dominant. Over the last 10 to 15 games, you sit back and look at this team and say, man, what a run. And we've waited for years to be on a magical run going into Omaha. One that you felt like there's something, without saying it, but everybody feels it, and it's fun to acknowledge without acknowledging it. I guess, I woke up thinking that way. I watched that play out thinking, come on now. Guys, if some other team is doing this, what do we say about them? If some other team that we watch close, if Florida had done this thing where we'd watch them be middling all year long and then go into the SEC tournament and win it, and then do what they did with 2 outs in the 9th in a regional while we were hoping they were going to lose, and then a kid came through for them, and then they cruised through the Super, you'd be like, damn it, they could win the whole thing. That's what I think a lot of people are looking at with Florida State right now going, well, I mean, if they're not Florida State supporters, they're saying that team could win the whole thing.
Well, the dial-in people say, it comes full circle because the expectations were through the roof.
Sure.
And then what the hell's going on here? They're setting all-time lows, across these benchmarks, 40 games, 50 games. You're looking down at the record and you say, well, who the hell is this team? This isn't what this program is about. And then switch flipped, and they're back to a place where we all thought they would get.
And they got healthy.
It's like writing down a 5, Jeff, on the scorecard after a hole of golf. Doesn't matter how you got there.
No, they don't draw pictures. Doesn't matter. Keep on keeping on. Let's do probables. Rapid fire.
It's time for, how you say, with the pitching, probables?
Brewers, Cards, Jimmy Nelson, Marco Gonzalez. We got Braves, Nats tonight. R.A. Dickey, Joe Ross. Rockies, Pirates. Great story yesterday in Pittsburgh as Jameson Taillon returned from cancer and pitched 5 shutout innings. He was outstanding. That's good news. Hopefully that continues. Tyler Chatwood pitches for the Rockies. Garrett Cole, who continues to suck for the Pirates, will pitch for my Buccos. Start of the year, dominant, looked like an ace. Can't get anybody out. That guy.
You need Dylan Busby. You need to call him up right away.
He doesn't pitch. I need him to get it together. Rays, Jays, meaning Cole. Rays, Jays, Jacob Faria? It's his second Major League start. I don't know that kid's name. Marco Estrada. Greinke, Farmer in the D-backs Tigers matchup. Cubs, Mets, John Lester, Zach Wheeler. Wheeler's been pitching better for you, right?
Been the best pitcher on the team for the last 6-7 times through the rotation.
There you go. Dodgers, Indians, Clayton Kershaw, Trevor Bauer. We got A's, Marlins. Cotton and Urena.
Bold strategy.
I was waiting. Phillies, Red Sox, Ben Lively, David Price. Orioles, White Sox, Alec Asher, Derek Holland. We got Mariners, Twins, Bergman and Gibson in that one. Rangers, Strohs, Nick Martinez, Brad Peacock. Yanks, Angels, CC Sabathia, JC Ramirez. Reds, Padres, Scott Feldman, Clayton Richard. Royals, Giants for your nightcap. Jason Vargas, who's pitched well this year, and Ty Blatch. So look at those that shall reside on the bump.
I lost you to the summer wind.
Man, there's baseball galore, and the baseball is the stage now. Baseball's got the stage for the foreseeable future.
This is a good time for the Mets to be on a 4-game win streak as the options are completely gone.
You come back over, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You were watching the NBA basketball over your Mets? There wasn't much else.
What, the finals? Yeah, but, I don't know about the second round of the playoffs or the conference finals.
Yeah, I was just wondering. You must have been really sour on your Mets to be tuning into a foregone conclusion.
Well, I mean, I kept tabs on the game last night, and DeGrom did throw a complete game, and that was nice.
Oh, man. That's going to do it. We're going to say goodbye. That's what we're going to do. Good work out of you. Good work, Matthew. Thanks to all those that called and or listened. Good to be back with you. We'll talk to you again tomorrow.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
You can tell a lot about a tractor by its warranty. That's why Mahindra makes the toughest tractors on earth. With steel, not plastic. Backed by the industry's best limited powertrain warranty, period. Not 5 years, not 6 years, but a full 7 years on select models. No wonder the other guys are green with envy.
No money down, 0% interest, and no payments until July. Available at TNT Supercenter.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle